Andy Jackson now 7 kills.
And now an 8. Miss hit on the Indiana side. Off the serve from Jackson, and her stellar night continues.
Down low, right side, intercepted pass in the passing lane. Hoiberg on the swipe, across the timeline, left side to the trailer. Sanford puts it up and in! Got it! Timeout on the floor. Nebraska in the opening stages of this game, 5 minutes into it, I had 14-7.
17 all. Final game at Kinnick for Drew Stevens. Can he be the hero? His kick is out of the way, and Drew Stevens walks it off on his final day at Kinnick Stadium.
2nd and 6 at the 11. Slot each way. Lindenmeyer short motion right. Snap back to Latif. Looks right. Pressure comes. Spins out of it. Steps up. Latif eyes downfield. Accelerates 10. Near left side 5. He's in. Touchdown Huskers.
It's pretty good.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That is Rico. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports headquarters. Rico, what's going on, buddy?
It's great. It's raining outside and people don't know how to drive, so it's fine.
That is true. And you came all the way from Lincoln.
Yeah.
So that is
It was annoying is what it was. People were driving and then they just decided, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap my brakes and I'm going to slow down in the fast lane and in the middle lane. And we're going to be 3 cars wide, and you're going to have to sit here going 65 on the interstate. Yeah. Have fun with that.
That seems like a good time.
It was terrible. I hated it.
You didn't enjoy yourself?
Look, I understand it's raining and you want to be safe, but you don't have to go that slow. All right? Just drive. Just drive. Like everybody in Nebraska and Omaha and Lincoln forgets how to drive when there's moisture on the road. Just drive. You know what to do. Don't stop. Okay? Stop it. Stop being dumb. Just drive.
You want to know a fun fact?
What?
Apparently, they did a study. I think it was in Japan because they do things like this.
Mm-hmm.
They did a study that 90% of traffic is caused by unnecessary braking.
Yeah.
Not by like road hazards or accidents.
No,
unnecessary braking.
You ever hit like a patch of traffic and then you get to the front and there's absolutely nothing?
Yeah, it makes me really mad.
It pisses me off
every time. There's a stretch on the interstate here in Omaha around 84th Street where the interstate just slightly curves, and people they hit their brakes around it. They just hammer those brakes every time. Like A, they haven't driven that every day for the last however many years, and B, like they would have engineered the interstate to not be able to take it at speeds on that slight curve, or put a sign up to be like, hey, aggressive curve, 50 miles an hour here. Nope, they're just like, hey, whoa, easy.
There's that curve before you get to the Ashland exit where like you go over the river, and that curve, everybody hits their brakes. They're just like, whoa, it's real tight. It's not. You don't have to hit your brakes.
No, it's fine.
Stop it.
It's actually okay.
You're pissing me off. Saturday pissed me off. Today pissed me off. I'm just in a pissy mood.
We got pissy Rico this morning.
Sunday was good, but Saturday and Monday suck so far. Well, Monday's fine. So, well, it sucks, but it'll get better.
we got time to turn.
I don't know.
We got time to turn Monday around still.
Ah!
We do not have time to turn Saturday around. What do we got here? Funky giblets.
Funky giblets.
I was driving through Dallas in a rainstorm at 5 o'clock, and the average speed was 14 miles an hour. Ridiculous. Took like 2 hours to get through. Yeah, Texas traffic is a whole other.
I've heard it's bad.
Yeah, so my sister lives in Houston, well, outside of Houston now. She used to live in Houston. She keeps like going further and further out in the suburbs. Now she's so far out, she's not even technically in a suburb anymore. It's like
she's just somewhere else.
It's like the people that live in Chicago's north suburbs and they keep going further north, they end up in like southern Wisconsin. It's like, you're not in a Chicago suburb anymore.
Like, yeah, I live in Chicago.
Like,
no, you don't.
You live in Wisconsin.
You're a cheesehead now.
You live in You're basically you're closer to Milwaukee.
You are no longer Michael Jordan fan. You are a Giannis fan. Sorry about it. Those are the rules. I don't make them.
Ken E says those drivers are from Iowa. Bleep Iowa. Amen, brother. It's Iowa Hate Week. We will take all the Iowa hate that we can muster. And believe me, I can muster quite a bit.
Now, I'm not endorsing violence, but we pulled up to Target the other day.
Yeah.
Me and the wife and the kiddos. And she goes, look. And I look across I parked right in front of a truck that had an Iowa seat cover.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to burn it.
That's the energy we need. We don't actually.
I'm not actually going to do it
to burn things.
And I'm not advocating for violence.
Yeah.
But
that's the energy we're looking for.
Yeah.
No felonies, but that energy. So we had a DBJR. I don't know we don't get your screen names anymore. We just get your handles. So I
hate it.
Forgive me here
it's
a little
dumb.
bit. He says, I can't wait to hear the water carrying for the defensive line and O-line. First of all, I don't drink water, DBJR. That's not a thing that I do.
He doesn't.
This is
right there. Let's pop.
Diet Coke.
This is water. I have water. I need to fill it up again.
I don't believe in drinking water. Also, speaking of studies, did
you go back and watch it?
What?
The game?
Yeah. No, I did. I was talking about a different study.
Oh, sorry.
I wasn't ready for the pain yet.
Oh, okay. We'll get to that. We'll get to pain.
So, I've for years told people that are like, oh, did pop dehydrate you? No, it doesn't. All beverages outside of alcohol are even alcohol, but this is different, are 90 or more % water. Diet soda is literally that it's 99% water, and then it's just flavored water, right? Caffeine makes you hydrate a little less effectively than just regular water, but it doesn't dehydrate you. It is actively hydrating.
So all the diesel dew that I drink?
Technically, yes. Regular soda is about 90% water. You've got other issues with the diesel dew?
Diesel dew. Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, pretty much. Juan says he thinks you're funnier than DB. Look at that.
I'll take it.
Look at that.
Actually, I know I'm funnier than DB.
Yeah,
I don't. The problem is, I have the humor, but if you came here for football knowledge, I'm lacking in that department. Well, I'm not lacking.
Compared
I know
to
football,
DB.
but compared to DB, a lot of people are lacking.
But we will talk to DB at 8:30. He will be joining us, so he will get your football fix as well. But we're also going to talk to Sam McKewon at 8. We're going to talk to DB at 8:30, and then we're going to talk to Arif Hasan at 9. A little NFL talk because the NFL was a little better.
The NFL was NFLing
for you, at least.
I'm fine.
Yeah, I mean your team's won.
My team's doing really well.
1 million games in a row.
10 wins. Shout out to Drake May.
Yeah.
Shout out to the clone of Tom Brady.
Yeah, if you guys want to make fun of Rico for anything, he's a Patriots fan, so just go for that.
Go ahead.
That's
10 wins.
Yeah, that's
you can make fun of me.
Yeah, that's fine.
If you're gonna make fun of me for anything, make fun of the Knicks.
Yeah, the Knicks
they're supposed to be really good. They're not doing great.
They're not good.
It's because OG's hurt.
Sure, that's
somebody said, and look. Okay, somebody else said this. I didn't say this. I am repeating what I saw on Twitter. Okay, somebody said that the Knicks are really missing their Canadian autistic small forward who is addicted to dunking.
I mean, I'm not trying to be out here diagnosing people with autism.
I'm not either. But that's what somebody said about OG.
Oh, somebody said it, so it's not your fault.
Yeah, somebody else. I didn't say it.
Oh, okay.
I'm just repeating.
You kind of just said it.
I didn't. I mean, there were words in front of it and words behind it. But yeah, sure, I guess.
You're kind of saying it.
Damn it, Headley.
That's kind of my point, Headley. We're starting off a little hot today.
I love OG.
Mark chimes in. When is Rule going to get to the point of just taking the points when we have them pretty much locked up? He says, I think there was close to 20 points or so left on the field. So let's get into that because a lot of people have talked about the opening sequence.
We have to get football already.
Yeah. Well, we got 10 minutes in. I think it's time.
Pain and sadness time.
Yeah, no, it wasn't great. There's a lot of things. I want to start with, I'm not sure there was anything that would have changed the course of the game on Saturday.
No, those 3 points at the beginning of the game do absolutely nothing for you.
The only thing I can imagine was if Nebraska had been able to convert and score a touchdown there, but then I still need them to get a stop on the next possession in order for me to feel like there could have been any sort of change in how that game went. To be clear, the way that thing played out, I don't think there's any one play or set of circumstances that changes it. Like, don't get me wrong, super annoyed about the illegal blindside block that didn't get called on the touchdown. Right?
I'm super annoyed at the blindside block. Was it a blindside block that they called on Lindenmeyer?
No, so here's the annoying thing is they called it a block in the back.
That's worse.
Yeah, because his head was definitely in front of him.
Yep.
Yeah, they called it a block in the back because they did one of these. That's the block in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty annoying.
I don't know where
the refs were really bad.
It's a chip. He's chipping him.
Yes, I mean, it literally happens on like 50% of football players, if not more. I don't want to pretend like the refs are the reason Nebraska lost that game. They're not.
No.
They made it that much harder to watch. Like, yeah, they made it really unpleasant to watch. And I do think there's a circumstance where a more appropriately refereed game is closer. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you. Again, there is no single play or set of circumstances that I think changed the outcome in that game. I want to make that very clear.
Yeah, there's no way that we can go back and say this one thing would have changed everything.
Yeah.
Because it was even if you get the touchdown or the field goal on that opening drive, you didn't get either. You had them on the 3 yard line, and they drove down and scored.
Yeah.
That pretty much set the table for how the rest of the night went.
Yeah, and
who's to say you don't score, kick it off, they have it at the 25, and they don't go down and score anyways? So they just had to go a longer way.
Funky Giblets asks a good question. I think it's worth mentioning here. He says, was this a result of PSU being a perfect counter to what NU struggles at, or did they play that bad, or a combination of both? I actually think it's both.
It's both.
Because
both of them.
As we talked to CFB Professor during the Hail Varsity postgame show on Saturday, and he mentioned despite the relatively close talent discrepancies, even though the narrative was something else, the places in which Penn State was more talented is where Nebraska struggled. So that's number one, is the matchup was not great for Nebraska. I thought they could do better. Obviously, I was wrong. Also, Nebraska did play incredibly poorly.
Yeah, it was not a good showing, regardless of the positions that they did have very good skill at, still did not show up. And Rule mentioned that in the post-game presser, where the runs that, last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, Emmett was breaking off for 5 or 6 yards, 5, 6 yards. He was getting 2-3 yards.
Yes.
Like, it just wasn't working. Penn State, and this is something we talked about on the Hail Varsity postgame show. Penn State did what Ravi and what a lot of other people have been asking Nebraska to do to UCLA and to Penn State. Stop the run and force the quarterback to throw the ball and make him beat you.
Yeah, that's
exactly what Penn State did. That was a perfect blueprint for how you do it. They loaded the box. They were tackling Emmett after 2-3 yards, and they're like, look, if you want to put the ball in your freshman quarterback's hands and have him sling it all over the field, be our guest. You can get all these yards, but once you get down into the red zone and the field gets tighter and your freshman has to make a really tough decision and fit it into a window, or you have to hand it off to your running back, you're not getting either one of those.
Yeah, I mean, there was just no possible way throwing the ball 37 times with TJ Lateef is what Nebraska wanted. No. It just wasn't. That was not a game plan that Nebraska could win with, I don't think. And listen, I was pretty pleased with how TJ Lateef played. I thought that his legs brought a dynamic to the table that was interesting and helpful at times. Obviously, the touchdown run being the most prominent example of that. But Nebraska didn't. That's probably pretty close to twice as many times as they wanted TJ to throw the ball. Certainly twice as many times because he scrambled a few. Certainly twice as many times as they wanted him to drop back. Like that was not a way for Nebraska to win that game. It just wasn't. And yeah, he dropped back 45 times.
That was not in the game plan.
Yeah,
that was not what they were going to do.
That's twice as many as Nebraska could win with, I think.
I was there. I'd say 25 is probably like the high end of what they were wanting him to do.
Yeah.
And they were wanting to hand the ball off to Emmett around that amount of times as well.
So
and
Emmett,
it just didn't, his
Emmett
yards
got
per
19.
carry. Yeah, his yards per carry just wasn't working to the level that they could continue to hand it off to him and feel like they could win that game. Also, they got down really fast and had to throw.
That's where it is you get down 20 points by halftime and you're kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Right?
You can't really run the ball at that point.
You're kind of put in a position where it's like, especially because Penn State was running the ball effectively. So they're salting clock away. You're like, I
honestly feel like effectively isn't even the right word.
Punishingly? Is that?
I think so.
I mean, punishingly running
effectively
the ball?
feels a little low.
Sure, that's fair. They were running the ball in a way that was going to limit the number of possessions Nebraska had moving forward. So you do start to, and that's the other part to Mark's point about taking points. Once you got into the second half, you kind of had to go for touchdowns. You're like, I'm only going to get the ball like 2 more times.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that ends up being, they actually ran more plays than I thought they were going to, because Penn State was kicking it off to him so much.
Yeah.
But
big plays.
They ran 69 plays. That was probably 15 more than I anticipated. But a lot of that is the fact that Penn State was scoring a lot. So you're going to get the ball back, which is not ideal. That's not exactly how you want to speed the game up a little bit there. But no, I mean, so the big thing that I was disappointed in was I thought Nebraska would be able to execute a similar-ish game plan to what we had seen. I talked about the running back yards a lot last week. I thought if they can keep Penn State to about 132. 132 was their average running back yards given up per game.
Mm-hmm.
If they could keep Penn State to that number, I felt like Nebraska had a path forward to win the game. They did not keep Penn State to that number. They were a good 100 yards over that.
They kept one of the running backs to that number.
Not even. No, they did not.
Never mind.
Allen had 30 more than that.
Yep, there it is.
So he had 160. If you take out the 50-yard run, they kept one of the running backs to that number. No, I mean they went for 230 with the running backs.
Both running backs had 2 touchdowns each.
So that was obviously the backbreaker. If you're not able to stop that, or at least stop isn't even the right word. I probably overstated it last week when talking about their run defense. If you could have kept them to about your average, 130 yards on running backs, I felt like that was a path forward Nebraska could win the game. Now, Katron Allen and Nick Singleton, very good. And a lot of it is I felt like Penn State kind of just bullied Nebraska. Mm-hmm. Like, I understand there's been talk about Nebraska's defensive line all year. We've seen them play better than this.
Yes.
Right? I think against like talent, I think Michigan is like talent, both on the lines and in the running back room with Haynes and Marshall. I think they are like talent, and I think Underwood is probably better than Grunkmeyer, although Grunkmeyer had a really nice game throwing the ball. We'll get to Nebraska's pass defense here in a minute. But I thought there was a path forward, and that Nebraska, against similar talent like Michigan, had executed that game plan. Now, I know that Michigan's running backs also went wild on Nebraska, but outside of their long runs,
I was saying,
so that was the major difference to me, is outside of the long runs, Penn State was still gashing Nebraska.
Yeah.
Outside of the long runs against Michigan, seemed like they had at least a reasonable grasp on the run defense.
How many long runs did Penn State even have with their running backs? They had the one.
They had 50, and then they had a 4. Singleton's long was 14.
Exactly. Like, they didn't really have massive runs, except for the one, which wasn't even a touchdown.
Reynolds, which is not a running back, had 26. So they were, like, it was, you take away the 50-yarder for Katron Allen, he still goes 24 for 110.
Yeah.
Which is like they were gashing Nebraska, right? So that to me was the big difference, is Nebraska wasn't able to hold up to the down-to-down running game of Penn State. You've given up some of those long runs before, not that it's okay, but I do think it's the down-to-down rushing attack that actually ends up having the game look like this, rather than the handful of long explosive plays that, say, a Michigan had.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is where this thing got away, and where I felt like Nebraska got bullied a little bit.
They couldn't handle Penn State's offensive line. And again, we talked about this before, where that offensive line was supposed to be up for the Joe Moore Award as one of the best offensive lines in the country. They have a bad season, but they still show you that they're one of the better offensive lines. They were running behind their left tackle all night. And on one of the touchdown runs, they moved their left tackle to the right side as a tight end and ran behind him. Like that dude was just carving out holes on Nebraska's defensive line. And you mentioned it. We've seen this defensive line and this linebacking core be able to fill holes and slow things down for opposing running backs and opposing running attacks for a decent part of this season. Yeah, they're giving up some long runs. They're giving up yards, 130, whatever, for the team as an average giving up. But for the most part, it's been decent. It's been one of those things where everybody's talking about how bad it is, but when you actually look at the numbers, it's like, okay, it's not ideal. It's like the 90th ranked, or before this game was like the 90th ranked rushing defense. Not ideal, but you can win with it. But when you combine the lack of run defense with a bad day for Nebraska's secondary, that's 100% a recipe for not success in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Like when your corners and your safeties are so worried about the running backs breaking it or getting to the second, third level and them having to make the tackles, that they're creeping up and biting on all of those play actions, that's when you run into a ton of trouble. And that's exactly, unfortunately, what happened to Nebraska. Is everything that could have gone wrong went wrong at the exact same time.
Which is why I look at it and I go, okay, I don't know how much of this is a scheme issue, because when everything goes wrong at the same time, that feels like something else. Now, it's possible that all the schemes failed in every facet of the game simultaneously. That would be the second time this year we'd seen that happen. The other would have been Minnesota. But I think Minnesota, and seems like everyone agrees on that, Minnesota was a distraction week.
Yeah.
Right? Short week, Penn State stuff going on, seemed like a distraction week.
Could this still have been, like, I know they're talking about how it wasn't a distraction, they were locked in, etc. But like, and he's got his extension and he's staying here. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, you're still going there. Like, you're still from there. It's probably a job that you've always wanted. You're not getting it because you're staying where you are. You're excited to stay where you are, but you're still going to the place where you played. And this place, a few weeks ago, was seriously considering you, or at least the rumors were that you were being seriously considered for this job. Mm-hmm. I feel like there was still a slight distraction in them going there and having to play that. I'm not blaming the loss on that at all. Like, the loss is the loss.
Yeah. But
I feel like there was still a little bit of a distraction, at least maybe in his head and maybe the players.
It's possible. I mean, I don't know. I have a hard time putting my finger on how much that matters with not just Matt Rule, but John Butler obviously coached at Penn State as well. And I don't really have a good answer for you there. What I will say is there was systematic. Yeah, I mean, Sid says the distraction this week might have been Dylan with the whole Dayton and Dylan thing happening earlier in mostly the Dayton thing. Dylan hasn't said anything, but
the Dylan thing was rumors from the fan base,
which again,
unfounded.
The Rule thing was rumors from fan bases mostly too. So that's not to say that it can't be distractions there, but I do think that there had to have been some level of whatever, call it distraction, whatever it was, to have these type of failures in so many areas of the game. I don't think that's something where it's just like, oh, we weren't prepared or we just didn't execute here. Like, I think there has to have been some other factor other than game planning. That's not to say, as Lee put, he thinks the linebacker play wasn't good, to put it nicely. Yeah, I think the linebackers have struggled all year.
Yeah, they've had their moments.
I really like some of them. I think that they've struggled all year. I think that's a place where, for as much as people are like, hey, you got to fix the D-line,
Mm-hmm.
I think you got to get some linebackers in there that are kind of game changers as well. I think Shavers has the ability to become that guy, but he's not yet. And that's not like inside linebacker hasn't been his natural position.
No,
I don't think. And so he's learning on the fly. He has moments, but you need, even outside it, you need other guys that have that level of athleticism that are ready to go. I think, Dawson Merritt's been banged up a little bit as well. I thought he's kind of on that path, but Nebraska's got to fix the linebackers just as much, if not more, than they have to fix the D-line.
So the linebacking talk always kind of intrigues me because I remember a time where fans were upset because Nebraska's linebackers weren't fast enough to keep up with the playmakers that other teams had. And then there was a switch, and because they had the big linebackers to stuff the run. And then there was a switch, and they started getting smaller linebackers who were faster to keep up with the playmakers, but then they couldn't stop the run, and Nebraska was getting gashed. And then, they try to maybe combine it, but again, it's mostly bigger linebackers, at least in the middle, who can stuff the run. And now or not now, I don't know what it is now, but it just keeps going back and forth between you need big guys to stop the run and to get into the holes. Oh, you need faster guys to keep up with the receivers and the tight ends who are crossing or to make it to the outside on the outside runs. And it keeps going back and forth. I don't know where we're at right now with this linebacking core, but I do agree that it's a cause for concern, and it's an area that needs to be addressed in the offseason, whether that's finding some guys in the linebacking room right now who maybe are playing out of position and will fit better in a different spot, whether that's going into the transfer portal and bringing in better linebackers, or it's just waiting on some of the younger guys that you have on the roster to be another year bigger, faster, and stronger.
Yeah, I think they're Sid at Dawson Merritt is a little banged up, so he hasn't been playing. I agree. I think he's been coming along nicely.
He was looking nice.
I think earlier in the year I said that I think by the end of the year he could be the best linebacker on the team. I think if he had stayed healthy, that was entirely on the board. DM asked, was it secondary, was it linebackers and safeties? It's kind of a combination of both. I think the linebackers have made things difficult for I've been critical of the guys in the second level quite a bit this year, and I don't take that back. I think they have struggled. I do think, as I've kind of talked to DB more and watched through some of the plays, I do think the linebackers are sometimes making life more difficult for the fillers on the third level because they're not executing their assignments the way they need to. So that's a whole other thing. The only reason I go linebacker, not the only reason, but one of the reasons I go linebacker over D-line at this point, which I know people are going to freak out about the size of the defensive lineman until they're blue in the face. And I just don't have anything for that.
I think they're plenty big.
I mean, listen, there's going to be some people who think you always need 330-pound defensive linemen. There's some people who think you can win with a couple 300-pound defensive linemen. We're not going to change minds so that's fine, whatever it is. But I like the talent on the defensive line better than I do the talent in the linebacking room right now. I think Keona Davis is really good. I think Williams Nwaneri is going to be really good. I think Riley Van Poppel is talented. I think Cam Lenhart can be a really solid college lineman. There are some guys behind them that haven't played that are younger that I think are talented as well. I don't see that same level of talent outside of a Dawson Merritt and Vincent Shavers if he can find a comfort level. Now, there's some guys that we haven't seen play yet that I like a lot. I think Pierce Moober is going to be a really good linebacker. I haven't seen him at all at the college level except for on special teams a little bit, so I don't feel comfortable saying oh yeah, he's going to be a guy that can fill that gap, right? Yeah. So I don't like the talent at linebacker as much as I do at defensive line, so that's why I think linebacker is a bigger concern. I don't like having to play Jacob Bauer. No offense to Jacob Bauer. Don't want to have to play him. I don't think Marquise Watson-Trent is capable of playing in this level or at this level. He had a great career at Georgia Southern. I don't think that's translated the way it wanted to. I think it's just a little bit too fast for him.
He was a heat-seeking missile at Georgia Southern, and now it's just
Javen Wright. Love him. Love that he's endured and come back and everything like that. Just doesn't look like it's quite there the way you need it to be.
Julian tackler.
Yeah, I get that. That's fine. Somebody's got to be
somebody.
Yeah, I mean,
at least it's not a safety.
I think the potential is there with the defensive line in a way that it doesn't really feel like it is with the linebackers, at least not with most of them. Now, if you end up with a Shavers, a Dawson Merritt, Pierce Mooberry version of that, people, Christian Jones was really highly touted. We'll see how he's coming along. I don't think we've seen him at all yet on special teams at all, but I don't think the upside is there with this current group, even if I like individual guys at the linebacker spot the way I do feel like it is with the D-line. That's not to say the D-line's been perfect, but if we're talking about run fits and things like that, I think more of that falls on the second level than it does the D-line. Now, again, the D-line got bullied on Saturday.
Yes.
Like, everybody got bullied on Saturday.
That's not to take away from the fact that they were getting pushed around.
Everybody got bullied. Like, Matt Rule said it. Like, they got dominated at the line of scrimmage, especially on the defensive side. I didn't think the offensive line was actually that bad. But especially on the defensive side, they got bullied.
I think the offensive line was really good.
Especially in pass pro. Run blocking wasn't good enough.
No.
Right? But in pass pro, and having to drop back 37 times, they
got sacked 3 times.
Yeah, 3 sacks.
Yeah.
But having dropped back 37, and one of those was, I think, just a bad play call for the blitz that Penn State was running with the they were trying to run that screen.
Yeah. That was a screen play, so the offensive line wasn't supposed to block him, and he just
didn't bite. He didn't bite on the fake. So
he was like, I'm going to hit your quarterback. Whether, honestly, if he would have handed it off, I think he still would have got hit.
Yeah.
So I think that was his job, is hit the quarterback.
Tucker asked, why do I feel that way about the D-line? Because I've seen some of those guys play really well. We've seen games where Keona Davis has played really well. We've seen really bright flashes from Williams Nwaneri. We've seen Riley Van Poppel look really good at times. We've seen flashes from Cam Lenhard. There's some other guys that I like their recruiting profile, and I like their high school tape a lot and from what I've seen in the very limited amount of practice I've seen. Like, I think David Hofkin could end up being a pretty good I think he could end up being a pretty good defensive lineman. In the open practice I saw in the fall, I thought Dylan Parrott looked really good. I have no idea if that was just a good day for him, and that's what it looks like regularly, but I think
Cade Petchock has a bright future.
Yeah, Cade Petchock, completely forgot about Cade. Cade Petchock has shown really bright flashes. So that's why I feel differently about the defensive line. Now, listen, if they go out, I'm certainly not going to be mad if they go out and get some proven defensive linemen as well. But for me, the bigger concern was the defense or the linebackers. I think they lack some athleticism at some of the linebacker spots. I think they lack some instincts at some of the linebacker spots. And the guys that have the instincts, like Watson Trent, don't have the athleticism. Vincent Shavers, who's hasn't played that position a ton, has the athleticism, but doesn't necessarily have the instincts. So you have a weird mismatch of guys that I think it's been really tough on the linebacking group this year.
It's a bunch of guys where if you combined their skill set would make really good linebackers.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
But individually, it's like, okay, well, you're really good at that. You're really good about this. You're not so great about this, and so on and so forth. So as a guy who's not been as high on the defensive line all season,
Kobe brings up a good point. You have Malcolm Simpson and Tyson Terry stashed away on the D-line developing too, which I think, those are guys high school tape that I like a lot.
You want to talk about a guy who
I'll say, you want to talk about the three. I think Tyson Terry is your 330.
I don't know how much weight they're going to put on him or how big he is right now.
I don't either.
But you want to talk about a guy who you can put in the middle and who can use his leverage to, eat some blocks and maybe make a play or two there in the middle of the line.
I had him listed at 310 before the season.
Yeah, Tyson Terry is going to be that nose guard that you need, because that wrestling background is really going to help him with leverage and the hand fighting.
I love a wrestler at defensive line. Love a wrestler.
I'm excited about what Tyson Terry has in the future. For me, for a guy who hasn't been as high on the defensive line as you, my reasoning for why I think this defensive line has a bright future is because all of the guys, not all, most of the guys on that defensive line are so young and are getting not their first shot at playing time, but close to, like, still early in their playing careers in terms of collegiate play. Like, the defensive line has a bunch of guys who have the size and the athleticism, but right now are still kind of learning how to mesh all of that together and work with each other to get things going. That is no excuse for how they've played this season. Like, I'm not excusing that, but I'm just saying that in the future, next year, 2 years from now, if all of those guys stay, or if most of those guys stick around and are still playing and are making the progression that you think they should be making, especially with Terry Braden as their defensive line coach, and he was coaching in the NFL. He coached a guy named Chris Jones, famously. I don't know if you guys know who that is. Then I think this defensive line in the future has a bright path to getting better and to potentially being the defensive line that people are asking for, at least close to the defensive line that people are asking for.
Yeah, I do think there's a more direct path towards impact guys already on the roster on the defensive line.
Yeah, this year was just bad.
Yeah, and also they will have to go to the portal because you have guys like Elijah Judy who played a lot of snaps that you are going to have to replace. However you feel about him, he was one of the bigger guys in the middle there. You're going to have to go replace him to go figure out what you want to do on that defensive line. So I think the path there is much clearer and much cleaner. I think the path at linebacker probably requires more massaging and figuring out how you want that to look. That's where I would start, because I think there is, if you're spending money, and listen, if you've got impact defensive linemen that want to come here, like absolutely pay them and have them come here. Like
100%.
That's not.
I'm not going to be mad about it.
Absolutely. Like I'm always.
The guys in the room might be a little upset about it, but I ain't mad at it.
I mean, listen, you got to do what you got to do, right? But I also think that if I'm out there spending on guys, obviously you're going to have to plug some holes on the offensive line, although I like some of the guys they've got coming up as well. And linebacker is a place where I look at and I go, hey, you got to get some guys that are both instinctual and athletic enough to play in the league here.
I say the first two levels on defense and the offensive line, I think that's where you're looking for portal guys.
Yeah.
I don't think you need it at wide receiver. I don't think you needed it running back. Even if Emmett decides to leave, unless a big time running back gets in the portal and is interested in you.
I think you do. I think you do probably need.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. Because
Alex got Amir Brown though.
He's 27 though.
Is he?
Yeah.
I thought he was 26.
I think he's a 2027. I'll have to double check here. I assumed he was in the same class as Trey.
I don't know. We'll have to look that up.
But the point is, yeah, he's a 27.
Dang it.
So you've got a ways to
Never
go
mind. Maybe you should.
Yeah, I think you've only after Mosey and Nelson don't have a ton of guys that you're like, oh yeah, I can throw him in there. And even those guys have not gotten hardly any carries this year, even though I like both of them.
That's because you got a workhorse back.
You do have a workhorse back, but that you got to supplement the room a little
Nobody
bit.
else. Just one.
No, next year you got to supplement the room.
Now you got
next year you got to supplement the room a little bit. Well,
I mean, when you're spreading it out like 12 carries per person, I think it'd be fine.
Yeah,
nobody there is going to get like 12. Well, hold on. Didn't think Emmett was going to get 25 a game. Hold on.
Nobody thought Emmett was.
Let me stop myself right there.
Yeah, I don't. I don't think they're going to stand pat in the running back room. They might bring in two guys. Somebody mentioned a short yardage guy. Yeah, I that wouldn't bother me at all if you brought in a short yardage guy.
You got Barry Liebentritt.
I said this.
Him
I said this at the post-game show. I'm not a fan of the different packages they put in there with Heinrich Haarberg. It feels like the defense kind of always knows what's going on. Feels like Haarberg isn't super comfortable. Like he just doesn't ever look real comfortable when he's doing those. They did a couple of handoffs instead of the sneaks against Penn State.
One of them worked.
Yeah, the one went for 50 for Emmett, which was awesome. But it also wasn't like a goal line situation. Every time they put him in the goal line, I'm like, well, this isn't going to work.
It's one of those things early in the season that you thought, oh, they're just doing this so they can set something up later in the season. And then it never happened because you're sitting there like, oh, well, he's playing tight end, but he was a quarterback. So maybe they're setting up where, you don't sneak, you don't sneak, you fake the handoff. It's a play action. All of a sudden, everybody crashes down because they think you're either going to hand it off or you're going to sneak. And you have a tight end or a wide receiver over the top that you just kind of lob it over to. And that never happened. It was either a sneak or in this case, a handoff. The only two things that have happened with Heinrich Haarberg at quarterback this year.
Yeah. And Josh brings up the opportunity to win against Penn State this year. Nebraska was 4-1 against Penn State going into this game. Like, it's not like, you know what I mean? This isn't Ohio State where like they've sort of been a boogeyman a little bit more. Like
This isn't Minnesota. Come on, guys.
I mean, to be fair, yeah. Like, this is actually one of the schools that Nebraska's actually had some success against, weirdly enough.
Like, yeah, this is the one in the Big Ten where it's like, oh, Nebraska and Penn State. Nebraska, I think, has a winning record against Penn State since they've joined the Big Ten.
They do, yeah. It was 4-1.
Yeah,
I mean, they this before the game. Now it's 4-2, obviously, but
still a winning record.
Yeah, and they've won at Happy Valley multiple times. Like, it's a weird little anomaly. But this is actually one of the teams they haven't been bad against. So I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know.
I agree that and honestly, we say that's fine, Josh. But you says maybe the best opportunity ever. Well, they've got 4 of them. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, ever is forever.
It's kind of
including Bo.
Yeah.
Like, when you say ever, it's ever. I don't know what you want me to do there. Like, also, we have no idea what Penn State's going to look like moving forward. Like,
absolutely no idea.
I'll say, yeah, I think Frost got one, but it's hard to remember. There was so few.
Yeah, because they beat him in 2020.
Yeah, that's right. There was the COVID game. But we have no idea what Penn State looks like moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is Terry Smith going to be their head coach?
I think they should. He seems like he's galvanized that entire roster. Sure. I don't know how good of a recruiter he is.
I don't know how good of anything he is. Like, I have no idea. Like, I don't know if
they were mentioning in the game, he's only been a position coach.
Yeah.
Never really got a chance to be a coordinator, and then he gets a chance to be the interim head coach, and which I'd say things are going pretty well for him.
I mean, sort of.
He's played really well against 2 of the top 10 teams in the Big Ten.
Fair.
And now he got a win on senior night.
Fair. They're
one win away from a bowl game.
They played well against Indiana. They played well against Iowa. They didn't play well against Ohio State, and then they beat Nebraska and Michigan State. So, sure, he's got them playing reasonably well. I don't know. I look at this. I go, that's probably not what the boosters had in mind when they fired a guy that was in the college football playoff last year.
Definitely not.
So maybe he's the right guy for the job. He certainly doesn't have the right resume for the job.
No,
if we're being honest. This isn't a situation like...
Unfortunately, he is not going to get the job.
I can't imagine. There's no way the same people that paid James Franklin to go away are going to pay for Terry Smith to be your head coach.
This guy.
I would be floored.
Like I said, they mentioned on the broad, there was a Penn State alumni, I don't even remember who it was, on halftime that was like, I think he should get the job. He definitely deserves it, all this stuff. And then back in the studio, they were like, yeah, he's not going to get it.
It was Michael Robinson. He's one of the NBC reporters.
Yeah, he's like, I think he should get it. He's great. He's an alumni. He knows what it takes to win here. Then they go back to the studio, and they're like, yeah, he's not getting it.
Yeah,
they said, like, there's no way that the people with the power, like you just said, the power are going to be like, well, let's get rid of James Franklin, who was a drive away from college football playoff championship game. And let's hire the assistant who's never been a coordinator.
Yeah, like Josh says, you fire Franklin and hires his assistant.
It's not going to happen,
unfortunately. Is Terry Smith an upgrade? No. I get that if it was up to Penn State players, he'd be hired.
The interim tag would have been removed already.
There's a reason players don't hire coaches, right?
That's
like
true.
that's a...
Unless those players are ADs.
Well, I mean, like ex-players.
That's what I mean.
Not like current players.
Well, if former players, he'd be hired too.
With the one,
Penn State. They like him.
Have you
been on Twitter?
He is a Penn State guy.
They like him
to the point of defending Joe Pa, which was pretty weird.
We're not getting on that again.
It's super weird.
We're not doing that.
It's super weird.
It is, but we're not going there.
Super weird.
We're not going there. Leave it alone.
Super weird. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable, man.
I know.
It's so weird.
It is. Let's talk about the defense some more.
Am I the only one that...
No, you're not taking crazy pills. It's one of those things that people just avoid.
Apparently I was taking crazy pills last week because I was wrong a lot. But I still think the Joe Pa thing is weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little culty.
I'm not gonna...
It's a little culty.
I'm not gonna fight you on it, but I'm not gonna sit here and talk about it.
I'm just saying it's super weird. Yeah, that's kind of my point, Keljum. I probably wouldn't wear that guy's name on a button on my shirt on national TV. Just me personally. Seems weird.
Anyways, why haven't we seen more Ja'Cory Barney on kickoff return? I understand that Kenneth Williams...
I like Ja'Cory Barney.
They said, Rule said that his hamstring was tight last week, and then they tried to give it a go. He was warming up. He didn't go. So you had Ja'Cory Barney back there.
I like Ja'Cory Barney.
I think he did pretty good.
I like
you got him do a punt return. Why don't you have him? And I understand kick return. Like there's a probably a greater chance of him getting hurt than on punt return because you could just fair catch the punt return and nobody's going to hit you. And usually it's one of those where like if anybody's close, you'll just fair catch it. I don't think he wants to ever.
Yeah.
But on kickoff return, like you just get it and you start running. Somebody's running full speed. There's a great chance that you get hurt. I think he looked really good on kickoff return.
Honestly,
I get your playmakers in space. And what better way to get him in space than on kickoff punt return? That's a lot of space.
A lot of space. I thought that he looked good on the kickoff returns. I'd like to see him on kickoff returns more.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see Ja'Cory Barney just get the ball more.
Yes.
In general.
Is it me or has he slipped a lot this season?
Yeah, I don't know if there's maybe need to fix the maybe it's a cleat issue. Get him some longer cleats.
He's bigger cleats.
Get something going on. I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes also I have a hard time telling if he slips or if somebody like knocks him off balance a little bit because it doesn't take. He's not a big guy. It doesn't take a ton to knock him off balance. He's super tough. Like I'm not saying anything like that. He's just not a big guy. So like when you're moving that fast and you don't weigh that much. Like
I know
physics tell you.
I know
that
it's tough. It's tough.
How do you know?
They knock you off balance.
Yeah, you just get a little,
It's one of those where you're moving fast, and all of a sudden it's a little thing, and all of a sudden your legs are like, ah!
Yeah, somebody like sneezes on you, and you're like, ah!
I don't know about that.
A gust of wind, you're just like, oh no,
about that. Whatever. What has Barney done this is he had 2 touchdowns against Michigan, tater salad, including the Hail Mary.
Yeah.
Oh, how you forget.
Yeah. So that's kind of the thing here. And a lot of
also not so sorry. I'm sorry. I just have to do this real quick. So the wide receivers, I saw somebody complaining about Dane Key. Dane Key early in the season.
Hell yeah, Kel Jam. We like you.
Dane Key early in the season was the dude. Yeah. That was Dylan was like Dane Key all day. A little later early in the season, Ja'Cory Barney was the man. He was getting all the targets,
Isaiah
everything. Isaiah Hunter had his moment. Like the receivers have taken turns being the dude for these quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So I don't want to. I saw somebody saying, "Oh, Dane Key hasn't done anything this season." I'm like, well, at a certain point, your number 1 receiver starts getting taken away, so you start going to your 2 and your 3. There should have been a point where you kind of went back to Dane Key. But then at the same time, Emmett Johnson started going off. So you're like, what'd be really cool is if we just ran the ball all day.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what they've been doing the last couple of weeks.
Here's the thing.
Except for obviously this last Saturday.
You mentioned short memories, and then we'll take a break here real quick. I think there is, and this is how people are. That's fine. The short memories, not just with the players, right? As you mentioned, I think Barney's had a pretty solid year. I think all the receivers have had a pretty solid year, Key included. I think sometimes we look at who Dane Key was at Kentucky. If you expected him to go for like 1,500 yards, like I don't know what you were paying attention to. He's a good wide receiver.
Yeah.
He's, was in like the 700-800 yard range. Like that same thing with Isaiah Hunter. Also, starting quarterback got hurt a few games ago. That matters too. Here's the other thing. We've got people talking about like Rule in here or somebody's like, oh, I don't think Rule is any better than Riley. How quickly you forget what things were like under Riley or under Frost or with other, I need you to not be such prisoners of the moment. Was it terrible on Saturday? 100%. Was I wrong about almost everything last week? 100%, except for the stadium. I nailed that. But
you did get that one right.
There is
not making the lower third for that.
I get Riley had a 9-win season. Anybody feel good about that? We're complaining about the schedule this year. You feel good about the 9 wins?
No, we're not doing this because I
was there.
I was on air during that 9-win season.
God, people.
And people were sitting there. This is the fakest 9-win season. This is the fakest top 10 team that Nebraska's ever had. Like that's what everyone was saying. So if you want to now go back and say, oh, Riley, I took heat because of a while ago I said, you know what? I don't think Riley got enough time. I think that if he would have gotten some more time, things would have gotten better. I don't know about that right now. I like Rule. I think things are going well with Rule and things are going to get better. But at the time, people hated it. People didn't want Riley. People still wanted Bo. He had 9 wins and people still wanted to run him out of town. People got upset because they did hip hip hooray after they won. They won. They won and you got mad how they celebrated.
this is the thing that I was mad about with Penn State last week. It got lost in translation, but you can't change how you feel about something later because you don't like the result or the result went a different way. Either Penn State at minus 10.5 was really good and Nebraska losing shouldn't have been a surprise, which means the fire everybody, whatever, seems like overkill, or the line was too high and Nebraska should expect to win that game and it would be a good win. Right? Like those, you can't change after. It can't be, hey, Penn State's really good. That's why they're favored by 10.5. Why the hell did we lose? It can't be Mike Riley, fakest 9 wins of all time. Yeah, they went out 7-0, and then they went 2-3 down the stretch. What the hell was that? Mm-hmm. And then we go back in history and say, oh, hold on.
Hey, remember Mike Riley won 9 games.
Mike Riley better than we think. Like, come on. What are we doing? Like, Nebraska hasn't made back-to-back bowl games since Mike Riley. They haven't had back-to-back 500 or better years in the regular season in a decade. I get that this isn't going on. I get that this isn't going the way we wanted it to. Mm-hmm. What happens if they beat Iowa on Friday? We cool again?
8 wins.
We cool again? Like,
if Nebraska beats Iowa and then wins their bowl game.
Corey, I'm not telling you how to fan. I'm trying to tell you how to think like a normal, like a person. I'm trying to help you look like critical think a little bit, not just get caught in the moment for everything. Like, if that's how you want to go through your life, that's fine. That's totally cool. More power to you. That's not how I want to go through my life, so that's how I process things as a fan too. Like, that's fine. Go for it. Fan however you want. That's not how I'm going to do the show. And if they lose to Iowa and they lose the bowl game, yeah, everybody's going to be disappointed, Mike.
Everybody sucks.
Everybody's going to be disappointed.
That would suck.
100%. What do you want? What do you want to say? Like, oh, no, it's going to be okay. Yeah.
And you know what we're going to do after that? We're going to talk about how next season we think they're going to be better.
And figure out how they can be better.
And because you don't, this is the hard part, is do you want us to be negative and to tell you how everything sucks and how Nebraska is never going to win again? And
there's lots of other shows for that.
They need to fire their coach and they need to go out and they need to hire. This would be the worst time to fire your coach. The worst time. And not because you're nearing the end of the season recruiting classes. No, I don't care about any of that. There are so many
jobs that
open jobs right now.
Look at the jobs that are
open. If you fired Rule, you are 8th in the pecking order. Like, you're so far down behind these other schools that have fired their coaches. It's not even funny who you might have to settle for.
I mean, look at Penn State. Penn State's talking about maybe keeping an interim that was hired by the coach they fired. Like, what are we talking about? Like, I have no idea what they're talking about.
And the whole third year thing, Rule even said it. He doesn't want to talk about the third year thing. The whole, Rule in his third year is so great and this and that. Like, he didn't want to talk about it. Everybody else made a big deal of it. But you know what? You still have a chance for 8 or 9 wins. And you know what? That's a good third year.
Josh, that's a good point. I'm just tuning in. Not happy with how things are going, but are people really calling for Rule to be fired? Yeah, go back and look at the post-game show comments. 100%. There's a lot of it.
It was dumb.
Like, I get that people are not happy. I'm not happy with how things are going. I also can see the forest through the trees and say, hey, this team is in a better spot than it was when he took over. It was in a better spot. This team in general is in a better spot than they were when Mike Riley won 9 wins. Nobody felt like that was sustainable. Not a soul. Mm-hmm. Not a soul thought that was sustainable under Mike Riley. And guess what? It wasn't. Right? Nebraska is headed in a better direction than they have been in over a decade. That's a fact. Mm-hmm. If you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you. You can be frustrated with how it went against Penn State, how it went against Minnesota. Like, I get it. I understand. I'm frustrated too. But being able to take your frustration in the moment and zoom out and still see that things are going better than they have in over a decade, that's not that hard to figure out. And I get people looking next year's schedule. Guess what? When we looked at this year's schedule, Penn State wasn't 4-6. Yeah, I said 10 wins, Kobe, because I thought it was going to be better than this. I'm as disappointed as anybody. Obviously, I can still zoom out and see that things are headed in the right direction, or I think things are heading in the right direction.
And other Josh D'Lo, like I criticized Rule. We talked about how bad the defensive line was, how bad the linebacking core. We're not sitting here pumping sunshine. We're just trying to say, hey, things could be better. They can still look. Nebraska can still beat Iowa. You know what else they can do? They can lose to Iowa. They could still win in their bowl game. They could lose in their bowl game. But I'm not gonna. Me personally, I don't want to sit here and talk about how they're going to lose and talk about how they suck. I don't like being negative. I like being positive. I'll give you a little bit of negativity every once in a while, but for the most part, I'm going to sit here and say, I think that they can beat Iowa because Iowa has really zero semblance of a passing game, and the running game is mostly their quarterback. The last running quarterback Nebraska had to face, you know what they did? They won the game. And he was a better thrower than Gronowski.
And a better runner. Nico's super dynamic.
Yeah, right? Like 6'7". It's Nico Iamaleava, the volleyball player. People forget. I don't want to sit here and be negative. I don't want to sit here and talk about how Rule should or should not be fired. I think the program's going in a good direction, so I'm going to talk about that.
Yeah, and it's still totally reasonable to be disappointed. He says Keldrum says you can be negative and you can be disappointed in something and not Chicken Little about it. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Like disappointed. I don't think the sky is falling.
I'm upset. That game sucked. Hey, Nebraska sucked on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were terrible. But you know what? It's a new week, and they can get better.
And it's Iowa Hate Week. That means it's time to beat Iowa. CFP professor who's smarter than all of us says, fire Rule. What are we talking about? He just now got young. He got young at Temple Baylor year one before he went on a run. It's set up now. Just breathe. I agree.
Usa.
Breathe a little bit. College football professor smarter than all of us. I promise you. Let's take a quick break here. We're going to talk to Sam McKewon coming up next. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
It's 0 days at Edwards Nissan. 0 down, 0 due at signing, and 0 payments until 2026. The Black Friday sales event is on. Give thanks, get driving. Drive a 2025 Nissan Sentra S starting at $199 a month for 36 months with 0 down and no payments until 2026. Over 39 Sentras ready to roll. Or sign and drive the 2026 Nissan Rogue SV all-wheel drive for $299 a month. 0 down and no payments until 2026. These 0-day offers end soon. Hurry to Edwards Nissan. It pays to make the drive to Edwards Nissan.
Nebraska leads the nation in All-Americans in volleyball of all time. Can you tell me what number that is?
I'm going to go with 60.
60? You want a hint?
That's a pure guess.
107.
Is it in the 20s?
It's in the triple digits.
Oh.
Huh? Who was our All-American from last year's team that graduated? Extra hint.
Lexi Rodriguez.
It was Lexi Rodriguez. Good job. You got that one. Good job.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
At the end of the day, TJ, I don't think had a bad play of the night. Even on this, we called the kind of rollout play, and it ended up being a sack on the one. If you remember 2 games ago, Sam, against USC, twice he ran and twice they knocked the ball out and fumble went out of bounds. Kid hasn't really been hit in a long time. Got out there, even on a play like that, he gets down. I think he moved the ball. He got us on the right checks. He handled the pressure. He handled the crowd noise. We had to go on silent the whole night. I thought TJ did a lot of good things. There's probably some throws at the end of the game. He'd love to get back, but he battled, he fought, he tried to run guys over and all that. I would probably prefer that he didn't always do that. But I think it sent a message to our team that he was going to fight for us, and that Emmett was going to fight for us, and that Sierra was going to fight to the end. And so, he'll have to be ready for obviously a great Iowa defense, a different type of defense, but a great Iowa defense. And it's a short week. It's going to be a real challenge for all of us, and we're ready for it.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live from my Centris Federal Credit Union. That's Rico. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald. Sam, how are we doing this morning?
Good. Can you hear me, guys?
We can hear you great. We appreciate you being flexible with us this morning here.
Of course. Yeah, what's up?
Oh, just trying to parse through everything that happened this weekend.
We're fighting with people in the chat, Sam.
Yeah, we're arguing with strangers on the internet as right. As is very common for our profession now. Sam, how are you doing this morning?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be – it's one of those weeks where it's interesting because, you're trying to cram a whole bunch of family time in, and that's good. That's a good thing. Mm-hmm. But it's not a quiet week in terms of, the job. Basketball is kind of quiet this week for Nebraska. They're playing Winthrop in South Carolina upstate, and the women's basketball team's they're playing teams in Florida that they should beat, but busy week for volleyball. Obviously, they'll be the number one overall seed in the NCAA tournament, but you got to watch their draw because there could be a team in blue that's the 8 or 9, and coming down to Lincoln for the second weekend. And for football, it's just a huge game, right? I mean, they laid an egg out in State College and did not play well. Maybe you could always argue that if that first drive ends in a touchdown, the entire nature of the game changes. But you can't have one play go bad and then have what happened happen for the next 2.5 quarters. That's the worst 2.5 quarters Nebraska's played since Indiana last year. They just didn't. Their defense didn't respond. Their offense didn't have enough plays in the Rolodex, and it felt like I don't think there was any concession. I think they kept playing hard, but it felt like, okay, on to Iowa. There was a moment in there, where it just felt like when they came out for the second half and Penn State went right down the field, they're like, okay, this game's over. And, it's at that point you start writing because they ain't coming back. They're not pulling out all the stops to come back here at Penn State. So pretty disappointing performance from Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm curious. You said something there about the opening drive and whether they get points there or not. Because I've thought a lot about that, and as I'm rewatching, I'm trying to figure out if I think that if something had changed on that drive, whether they take the 3 points or whether they actually convert and get the touchdown, is there a part of you that believes that could have changed the course of the game, or because of how everything else played out, you're like, yeah, that probably, whether they score there or not, probably doesn't change it based on how Penn State played?
I think Penn State still wins the game. I picked Penn State to win, and I thought it was going to be a very tough challenge going out there, even with the crowd not being very large. Mm-hmm. I thought it was going to be hard. It was still the hardest road game Nebraska had all year, which is notable. I think it would have changed the competitiveness of the game.
Sure.
I don't think the game is very competitive, and I do think you take that into account. Like you can't just say, well, a win's a win and a loss is a loss. I thought that, for example, the loss to Indiana last year really kind of put a bad spin on that season until the next week when they almost beat Ohio State. So like it matters how you lose, and I thought Nebraska lost in a sort of, well, we're going to do what we can here, and we'll let TJ throw the ball around and try to play the game the right way and so on and so forth. But yeah, their defensive strategy didn't work. They thought they could maybe, put a 5-man line out there and maybe solve some things, and that Penn State just kind of ran around it, to be candid with you. They threw around it and they ran around it.
Yeah.
They let Nebraska line their 5 guys up and do whatever they were going to do, and it just wasn't a very good strategic plan, and they still haven't figured out how to stop teams on the edge of the field. I don't know if Iowa will exploit that. Hard to say, but yeah, it just didn't look like Nebraska was very well prepared. Didn't look like they had a schematic advantage. Looked like they got out coached. Just one of those games where it's like, I don't know. It was, and after the game, they're like, hey, this stunk, and then we're gonna move on. So Iowa does them a favor by being the next game, right? Like Iowa does them a huge favor by being the rival that comes after the Penn State game. So we're not going to spend much time talking about it because they're going to be all focused on Iowa. But if you lose to Iowa, that loss to Penn State looks a lot worse.
Yeah, I mean, if you lose to Iowa, the whole season looks a lot worse, right? I mean, it gets a lot harder to feel good about progress. Not to say that there's not any, but a loss to Iowa really changes the entire tone of the offseason, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah. I think the way you could, in theory, change that is if you lose to Iowa and you go to Las Vegas and you play Utah and you beat Utah. That'd be
Sure.
good.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's going to happen. I think if you go to Las Vegas and you play Utah, you're going to lose to Utah.
But Utah would be a bad matchup.
Yeah, they would. And how about playing Arizona State and Jeff Sims? That would be something too.
That'd be incredibly ironic.
Yeah, it would. It'd be strange. I don't know. Like I feel like that it's a huge game. It's one of the largest games in Rule's tenure, to be candid with you. Like it might be the largest one because he's not going anywhere. He's gonna be here a long time. And it's gonna go how it's gonna go, and they've got more work to do, and they know all that, and I've talked about that all season. But I do feel like fans need that. They need to see Nebraska beat Iowa, and to feel like going into next year, it's going to feel like all these things, and like you need the money people to feel good about it, and all the qualities that go along with that. If you lose to Iowa, you've lost 3 of your last 4. Only team you beat was UCLA, and it feels kind of stinky, and you lost 4 of your last 6, and just you didn't finish the way you wanted. They've got work to do for sure. So I'll be intrigued to see what happens. I think I do think they've probably prepared very much for this game. They didn't just roll into the office Sunday morning and go, okay, what's Iowa got for us? Like that's not what happened. So they put a lot of energy into preparing for this game, and we'll see how it goes.
So Sam, as you look at Iowa, you mentioned, or I've seen a lot of people mention the kind of physicality that Iowa wants to play with, and looking at the Penn State game and they go, oh God, is this going to happen again? Right.
Mm-hmm.
What are the differences for you between this Iowa team and this Penn State team? I'm trying not to ask this in a leading way at all, because I want to get your answer and not infect it with my opinion.
Well, I mean, I think there's some differences for sure. Iowa has better special teams, and so they're going to win that way. And they have an incredible punt returner and kickoff returner, and Cade Weechin, maybe the best we've seen in the last decade anywhere. I mean, he's great. They do a great job of blocking for him. So, obviously he's elite there, and they're elite. I think the way I describe Iowa to everybody is Iowa's like gravity. Iowa pulls everybody closer to them. So if it's an elite team, Iowa pulls them closer. If it's a bad team, Iowa pulls them closer. That's how you can have a situation where Iowa loses by 2 to Oregon and only wins by 3 against Michigan State. And the spread between Oregon and Michigan State's about 35 points. So Iowa is gravity. That's how Iowa functions. And so you have to keep that in mind. Iowa's not as good at home. They're not as good away from home. They don't play as well away from home. So perhaps Nebraska can take some advantage there. They haven't been able to do it at Memorial Stadium. They've found novel ways to lose at home in recent years, and they've got to try to figure that out. I think they don't have nearly as good a skill players. Every skill player, with the exception of the tight ends at Penn State, is better than Iowa's skill players. So, and that wasn't true last year. They had Caleb Johnson last year, but Nebraska shut him down completely. So, aside from one long play. So the way I describe Iowa, and people always kind of look at me funny when I say this, is I'm like, Iowa's actually a big play team. Iowa wins with big plays. They don't win with small plays. They win with big plays. They might have 60 plays in a game, or 120 plays in a game, offense and defense and special teams. And 110 of those plays are small plays. Iowa wins the 10 big plays. That's what they do. They actually are a big play offense. And people are like, no, they're not. Yes, they are. They're actually terrible at moving the change, and they punt all the time. But 2 or 3 times a game, they hit a 40-yard play. That's what Iowa does. And they do an incredible job of limiting big plays. And so Iowa doesn't give you the big play. They don't give you the explosive, but they hit the explosive. And one day when we're way far out of like being able to look at the way this stuff works, we're going to see that whatever Kirk Ferentz did about 10 years ago when he changed his program was sort of a Moneyball-esque, almost genius approach. And we don't give it the credit it deserves because their talent is like not where Ohio State's is. And so when they go play really good teams, they don't match up. And they can't do the things that they do. But you want to talk about a team that does an incredible job of beating average to poor teams on a consistent basis. That's what they do. And they do it with a formula that just works. I guarantee you that Maryland is probably about as talented as Iowa. They just don't play in a way that wins games. Iowa does. And Nebraska is trying. I think they're trying to get there, but they're not there yet. And on top of that, Nebraska's really had a problem in this series of self-inflicted errors that Iowa doesn't make. So we'll have to see how Nebraska plays. I mean, they've got to play smart. They've got to limit the big plays, and they got to hit their own. There is a scenario out there, guys, where Nebraska wins this game by 3 touchdowns, and I'm not kidding. One day, it's just all going to happen, and they're going to kick Iowa's butt. I just don't know if that's going to be Friday. I kind of thought it would be, but watching Nebraska play Penn State, and understanding what I feel like I'm hearing is the undercurrent of the team right now, everybody around there is just really worn down, like physically. Like the defense is just not what it needs to be. It's a little small. It's a little over. It's just a little worn down. And I think everybody's just a little, you get late in the season, everybody's kind of heard the same messages. They put a lot on the USC and UCLA games because those are LA teams. And I just felt like the Penn State effort was, I don't know if we're going to win this game. So, that's how it felt. Can they pull those emotions up for Iowa and put aside their injuries and all that other stuff and just go play? I guess we'll find out.
Sam, is that the feeling that you got from the team when they were out in Happy Valley? Because I mean, they're coming off of a bye week going into Penn State, so if they're worn down and going into that like, we're going to lose, that seems a little problematic, doesn't it?
Well, it's just, I think it's the wear and tear of the season, and you get in, you're trying to heal up. They did get guys back, so they got Merritt and McCullough back. They didn't necessarily play a ton, but you're trying to heal up. You're trying to, figure out how you're going to play the last 2 games. The challenge that Penn State is. It's a long road trip out there. all those things just kind of wear on you. Like, I know that basketball teams play like 3 times the games that football teams do, but it's 10 guys getting on a plane. It's not 100 guys. It's not 100 people. It's 20 people. And the physical wear and tear, and like what it feels like to get hit like that when it's cold. And I never played college football, but I've talked to enough people who do, and it's actually hard for them to articulate how brutal it is. So what these guys are going through is really actually very, very hard. To go out there and play 30 plays in that temperature with 320-pound men cutting you and gashing into you, and that's really challenging. I mean, it was cold and wet enough that Penn State's helmet paint cracked. And Rex Guthrie, who might be one of the best players on the team, if you're just talking about he'll go do anything. He's down for anything. That's what I like about him, and that's what they like about it. They probably need a few more guys like that. They probably do. They probably need more of him and Caleb Benning, and they got a crop of guys coming. They know what they got coming up. They're just not quite ready, and some of them aren't quite big enough. I just don't know how to. They got to gain some more weight. Like they got another year in the weight room and all that. They know what they got coming. It's just, I think some of it's catching up on some of these guys. Remember, some of these guys came to Nebraska as 270, and now they're 300. But it's like an added 300. That's like, it's just not. You got to go out and get the 6'4", 334-pound guy that you cut 10 pounds from. Like they got to get a couple more large guys. In my opinion, that was my opinion going into last season. There were guys that added to the team. I know I'm kind of rambling on and on here, but like they added guys to the team I thought were going to be edge rushers, and then they made them interior linemen. I'm like, I don't know how that's going to work. And so well, there's big picture questions that they have to assess after the end of the season. Suffice it to say, we all knew they were going to struggle against the run based on what they did and didn't bring in. Matt Rule tried to present something else at Las Vegas. I think in hindsight, he didn't have to have done that. Like, I don't think he had to play to sell it up, but he did. And so I think it gave people an impression of what might happen. And then Butler made the comment last week that I thought was unfortunate about low-hanging fruit. And I was like, you know what? No, it's that you don't have to say that. And then saying, well, we don't give up any explosive plays. And then you go out to Penn State and you give up like 7. It's not that was ill-timed. And I'm sure there's lots of things about that game he'd like to have back. That wasn't his best coach game.
Sam, talking about, you're talking about defensive line there a little bit. Bigger concern for you, I guess, moving forward based on kind of the guys they have in the room, the guys you think they've got coming up, defensive line or linebacker?
Well, that's a really good question. I actually think they're going to be okay on the defensive line with another year in the weight room and two or three more additions. That's my opinion. Now, they may disagree and go out and get like 4 or 5. I think they're going to be okay. Tyson Terry's hurt, right? And he's recovering.
But that's one of the bodies you're talking about.
He is. Malcolm Simpson is a larger edge guy. He's getting there. Williams, Waneri's gotta continue to get better. He's worn down a little bit in the end of the season, or more to the point, you can't just do all the stuff you were doing earlier in the season. You gotta kind of play, physically through it. At linebacker, okay, so that's where, I think that's where you're looking. Shavers obviously first got retained Vincent Shavers. And they had to do that last year, and they got to do it again. And I think they'll be able to do that, but Vincent Shavers will have opportunities. And we'll just see what those look like. So he'll have opportunities. First, Nebraska's got to retain him. Mm-hmm. Second, you have to get Merritt all the way ready to roll for next year, and it's got to be Dawson Merritt, 45 snaps a game. Then you Christian Jones has got to get there too. He redshirted this year. Mm-hmm. And then you got to go out and find some other guys. Pierce Newberry is I don't think maybe he's a weak side linebacker. That might be a guy to watch. He redshirted. I don't know. Like, yeah, I think they need linebackers for sure. I think they need to go out and get a couple of guys that can really, stick their nose in there. You saw Penn State's guys. They need that. They need guys like that. You'll see Iowa's guys. You see Michigan's guys. You need an Ernest Hausman. You need somebody like that. You need somebody that's very rangy, very physical, can hold up. Javen Wright's had a good season. So, like, I got nothing against Javen. He's done a great job and should be all Big Ten, like third team maybe. I think he'll get there. I think he deserves that. He's been good. He's really good in coverage, incidentally. No teams don't even throw to the tight ends, and Javen's one of the reasons why. So you got to have versatile guys, but I think you got to have guys that can really fill it up in the middle. Shavers has got to get better too. So on the big first long run of the game, Katron Allen's a really good player, but like he sort of sees Shavers shooting through the hole and he just kind of runs outside, and you have to continue to. Shavers has got to get better too. Like he will. He's crucial to retain. I think if I was gonna give you a list of guys, it's crucial to retain on defense. Shavers is probably number 2, and then Keona Davis is probably number 3, and number 1 I think is like an Andrew Marshall. You got to keep him. They're going to keep Donovan Jones. I think Donovan Jones will stay at Nebraska, and he's really important going forward. But I think they'll keep Rex Guthrie, and I think maybe number 1 is Andrew Marshall. Like, could he go to like Oregon? Yeah, he could play there. So, I don't know. We'll have to see how they decide to play it out. But linebacker over defensive line. But we'll see what they do. They still need 2 giant defensive linemen, in my opinion. They need a Ty and they need a Nash. They need giants, and those guys were giants. And they need Riley Van Poppel to get a little better, and they need some big fire hydrants in there, and which Nash Hutmaker was.
Sam, as you look at this offseason, I don't want to skip past Iowa, but I think Penn State has brought up kind of some bigger picture issues here. We talked about defensive line versus linebacker. How have you felt about the wide receivers that got brought in? We've had some people bring up like, hey, doesn't seem like maybe Key has been as consistent as people wanted, or Hunter has been as consistent as people wanted. How much of that is the offense overall in general? How much of that do you put on the wide receiver?
I think Isaiah Hunter's had a very good season for a first-year guy coming out of Cal and having to catch passes from quarterbacks who aren't as good as Fernando Mendoza. So I think Hunter's had a great season. I don't think you have anything really there. Dane Key, I think some of that's on the offense. I think some of it's on like what do you want the offense to be? I think Saturday night you got to see the pass offense actually kind of open up a little bit, and I thought that was a good thing. You don't like the circumstances in which it occurred, but you got to see TJ kind of play the game a little bit and be in a situation where he had to throw a lot of passes. And ultimately, you do want to get to the point where your offense can throw it 35 times and look really good doing that, and not have 15 of those passes be, dump offs to the running back and the tight end. And so I thought there was some moments. Key is sort of their RPO slant guy, and I thought they hit him on a couple of those. It's hard to assess. It's a low possession league. Mm-hmm. It's a low play number league. You can't skimp on the receivers. You still have to have guys that can go make plays. But at the same time, I think some of it is Holgerson's coming into the league. He's coached 4 games in the league. He's looking around. He sees Banks and 18 are leaving. Nayor. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, we got to go get receivers. And, got to go get a back too next time. Got to give Emmett a little bit of a breather. See, people think, well, Emmett wouldn't have had all these yards if they had another back. Well, he might not have as many yards, but I'll bet he'd be averaging a couple more yards per carry. And that's the thing. Like, Emmett got hammered in that game, and he played really well, as he always does. But, what you want is a guy that can go in there and average 7 yards a carry. And I think if they had a hammer back that could have taken some of those punches off him a little bit, well, then all of a sudden he's got a little bit more burst, and he makes another guy miss, and all of a sudden you got another long run. So I think it would have been, they'll go out and do that. Emmett's really got to consider the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And so we could be saying goodbye to Emmett on Friday. Like that could be it. That could be his last game. He could be going to the league. So then you got to go out and find 2 backs, folks, because they don't have a lead back in the guys behind him. They don't. So I thought maybe they did. Maybe they thought they did, but they don't. And so, or at least right now they don't. And so if Emmett leaves, are you going to pay Emmett to stay? Are you going to pay him like millions of dollars to stay through rev share money? Or are you going to say, you know what, go get your NFL dreams and go find, and then go pay $500,000 to somebody else to come in? Like, that's actually a decision that I'm sure Pat Stewart will lay out to Matt Rule and make a recommendation. Like, that will be something that he'll have to say, because I'm guessing there is a dollar figure that in theory could retain 21.
Yeah.
Somewhere it's not 0, and it's,
probably north of
not
7 figures, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
there's probably a number that can do it.
Yeah.
But do you want to do that? Do you want to dedicate that? And then, and say, well, that's not a problem we have anymore. The cautionary tale there is Nick Singleton at Penn State. So
Sure.
He could have come out last year, probably been a 2nd-day pick, comes back, going to go win a natty. Didn't have a great season. Not as good as Katron Allen. Probably lost some draft stock, but he probably made 7 figures. I think they were paying their running backs combined probably about $3 million. That's what I think. And I think they probably got the quarterback on a whatever you call it, pretty discount deal. I think that's a good guy, that Drew Aller, and I think he probably took less to play there and play with all those guys and try to win a national title. So you feel for him, but they probably spent a lot of money on those 2 running backs, and it finally paid off. Right, time to play Nebraska.
Saturday. It worked Saturday.
Yeah.
Sam, I know you got to get going. I appreciate the time as always, and hope you have a great Thanksgiving. And
hey, same to you guys. What's your favorite Thanksgiving food?
Oh, so this is a hot topic here. I'm not a huge Thanksgiving food guy.
Ravi does like tacos on Thanksgiving.
I will say, so this isn't like, not everybody has this, but if there's like a scallop potato, au gratin potato dish like that.
Oh yeah, those are awesome. Mine's stuffing, but I love scalloped potatoes, and I love pecan pie. Pecan.
Ooh, okay. Pecan
or
pie.
pecan, as some people say, but pecan pie. That's my
pecan. I'm a big holiday ham guy. My grandma puts like the pineapples and the pineapple juice and the cloves and all that syrup and sugar, and it's just I'll eat an entire plate of just that.
Ham is excellent. If you have not already seen the Danny Hurley little line about turkey on Thanksgiving and why his team won't be eating on Thursday, it's not quite safe for the stream, but it's hilarious. and his team will be eating their Thanksgiving on Wednesday because of tryptophan, and he explains that situation.
Yeah, I'm a big ham over turkey guy. I would agree.
Me too.
I would agree there.
Yeah, not a turkey guy.
Sam, appreciate it as always. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. We appreciate all the time you give us throughout the year.
Take care. You too.
That is Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald. Good stuff there from Sam. I thought there was a lot of interesting stuff in there. We're going to take a quick break here.
Interesting is the right word.
No, I mean there's a lot. I mean there's a lot of nuggets in there. DB is going to join us in about 5 minutes. We're going to take a quick break here. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. It's Hurrdat Sports Live here at Hurrdat HQ.
The Black Friday sales event is on at Edwards Kia. Give thanks and get driving. Lease the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at $299 a month with 0 down. That's 0 down starting at $299 a month for the 2026 Kia Sportage. Bold style and tech-savvy comfort. Or upgrade to the 2025 Kia Telluride LX 4-wheel drive. Lease starting at $379 a month with just $999 down. Space, safety, and unmistakable style. Don't wait. These Black Friday savings end soon at Edwards Kia.
Well, I think the biggest thing is, if you watch that game, I mean, your quarterback, your freshman quarterback's out there. I mean, as I said to them at halftime, it's 3rd and 19 on the 1 yard line, 2 yard line, and I said drop back and let it rip. An O-line that's taken a lot of heat this year, and deservedly so for sacks, pass protected some of the best pass rushers in the country. So in the midst of something like this, which I can promise you, just for me, honestly, obviously coming home, this is about as miserable as it gets. They battled and fought and didn't quit. And the coaches didn't quit, you know? And so that was awful to go through. Credit to them. But no one started pointing fingers. No one was yelling. No one was throwing helmets. There was none of that stuff. And so, you know, TJ ran around, battled to the end. Jacory's out there trying to return punts at the end. I was not proud of the result, but I was proud of that. So we'll come back. We'll eat this one. You know, we'll sit there and deal with it. I told them when we get on the plane, we're on to next week. We got no time to worry about what just happened, as bad as it was.
A successful financial future is built one coin at a time. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned saver, we've got the financial resources and team of experts who will be with you every step of the way. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Highest standard. They're locally and family owned and operated. They've got their roots right here in Omaha, just like you do. Make sure you get to dingmans.com to check out their 4 great Omaha area locations and find out more about getting your appointment scheduled today. It's Dingman's Collision Center, dingmans.com. Yeah, we're going to talk to DB here in just a second whenever he is ready. He's going to be down. He's down in Lincoln today. That the Nebraska High School State Football Championships get underway. They've got, what is it? It's C1, C2, and 8-man today. Is that right?
I'll have to check.
Yeah, A's tomorrow, I believe. So we will have, DB will be back tomorrow, but he's down in Lincoln today calling high school football. And he'll join us here in just a couple minutes to talk about that. But no, I thought it was a good conversation with Sam there. I thought he had some very interesting. Big fan of his ham over turkey take. That was maybe
Yes.
the most important thing that he
100%.
said. Also, we agree on the scallop. Scallop potatoes
are fire.
Are legitimately one of my favorite foods, period, like full stop. And when I say scallop, I mean the cheesy ones, because technically scallop is just the way you cut them.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time you're talking about cheesy potatoes. That's the real name. If that's actually the au gratin part.
Yeah.
But we'll call them scallop for ease sake here. Don't have to get all French on everybody.
D1, D2, and B today.
D1, D2, and B. It's C1, C2, and A tomorrow. Okay.
Yes.
D1, D2, and B today. So DB will be on those calls.
8-man football.
Yeah. Listen, I know people don't believe this. I love 8-man football. It is wildly entertaining. Obviously you don't get to watch a ton of it around here, but love watching it at the state championships every year. And we'll be excited to hear DB on the call on Nebraska Public Media.
Careful.
Nebraska Public Media.
Careful.
Listen, I'm back in the day. Where it was any TV, and then so it's I'm learning.
You're all over the place.
I think you're an old man. I think we've got. Oh, Tom, you're right there. That's 100% accurate. You're not wrong.
What?
There's a local establishment that has incredible scallop potatoes. DB, I believe, is on the phone here with us. DB, can you hear me, bud? Jane, can you patch him through?
It's almost like Austin didn't know that I had a broadcast to do. How could I Zoom?
I mean, you could have.
Listen, I just thought you wanted to see us.
Yeah. Can you imagine me getting to a place where I practically should have residents 2 hours and 50 minutes earlier than I have to just so I could be on a computer screen?
I think that would have been great, and you definitely should have done that.
Not a chance.
Wow, I see how it is.
I thought your car with all the cameras could maybe just like hook right into the stream.
Maybe one of those cameras can help you out.
While it was watching you drive.
L3, I don't even know if I have rear view windshield wipers. Okay, like I don't know anything about this vehicle.
I say, Damon, have you figured out your car yet?
No, at some point it's going to talk to me and you're going to be like W2H and I'm going to say, I don't know.
Damon's going to find out his car can drive itself at some point. He's going to be like, oh, this is cool.
Oh, that's dangerous.
You know, it's a little bit of free sip on the ground. It brings out the worst. It may have to go to auto drive. These people are ridiculous.
Oh, don't worry. I already went on that rant. As soon as we started the show with me ranting about that, I had to drive in from Lincoln early morning rain traffic is terrible.
Like, I don't understand. Like, what's the difference?
People are dumb. They see water and they're like, oh no, my car, it won't be able to drive in the water. I don't know why they have that accent, but that's how I imagine everybody that drives slow on the interstate. That's how they talk.
I mean, this is it's borderline incredible. It's a good thing. Do you know what made my quad box yesterday was Huddle Film, watching like every game of every team that I have today. So it's a good thing I'm ready because Zoe forgot her backpack, so I had to go back to her school.
Oh no!
This morning to drop her backpack off, and I'm gonna walk in, and they're gonna mic me up. We're gonna do the open, and I better get it right on the first take. That's how we're doing it this morning.
DB, so you've got D1, D2, and B today. What games are you? I mean, I know you love 8-man football. What games are you most excited about?
I kind of like them all. There's something different. I want to see the Hedstrom kid from St. Mary's. He looks really good. Wynot can score a ton of points, so like that's gonna be fun. Crofton and Sandy Creek have played brutal schedules. Sandy Creek, especially at the quarterback spot, they had some big shoes to fill. So that'll be two battle-tested teams with tough schedules. And then tonight should be an all-out slugfest between East and Waverly. Nathan Axe, two really, really good running backs in this one with Connor Sams and Axman, and two quarterbacks that distribute it pretty well. And shout out to Waverly, man. Coach Manstead. And that's my guy. Coach Manstead, his huddle, he has all 22 end zone version. That guy is the GOAT, and it's going to Huddle Team.
Wow.
That's Huddle Game strong right there. So yeah, we'll look forward to watching those games all throughout the day, and then this evening with the Class B matchup. Before we move on to Nebraska here, I know the Class B one kind of fascinates me, just with the way Gretna East has been able to, in just their third year of existence, get to this point as a program already. Obviously the big win in the semifinals against, crosstown rival Gretna. Has that surprised you at all that they've been able to get to this point so quickly?
Actually not. I think geographically, the design, the crop of kids that they got that planned ahead for the boundary line, I think this was in the works. You ask Coach Oberman when he got that job, I don't know if he would have said state championship possibilities in year 3, but I mean, he at no point when he'd taken this job did he lack confidence that they would win right away at all.
Yeah, I think that's I don't know Coach Oberman the way you do. I'm not sure he lacks confidence in about a lot of things.
What's up with these?
That much is true as well. That much is true.
What's up with these Omaha suburb schools just getting really good right away?
Yeah, like that's how it's built now. You may have to take your lumps for maybe the first year because you're young, but when these schools start to open and you get in some of these neighborhoods that have a migrant, just like a pattern of kids, they know what they're doing. And I think, like we saw it at Elkhorn North, we've seen it at Gretna East. You've seen it a little bit with Westview, especially on the basketball side.
Mm-hmm.
You get new schools, man. They're built to win in a hurry. How quick it took Millard West won a state title in their first 4 years, I think, of being open.
Yeah, so, it wasn't much more than that for sure.
Yeah, it can definitely happen. That's for sure.
DB, let's move on to the Nebraska Penn State game. When you see
how's the tenor been? Has it been?
Oh,
fire everybody again because every loss is a re-referendum on the program.
Yeah,
okay. Let me go through.
We're staying toxic out here.
So Rule needs to be fired. The defensive line, which has been bad all season, is so trash that everybody needs to be gone, and you need new defensive linemen. All the linebackers are terrible. Did I mention that Rule needs to be fired? Just the
Butler needs to be fired.
Butler needs to be fired.
Butler needs to be fired.
Just the regular cast of complaints.
Yeah, it is unusual. Not unusual. I said this like 3 weeks ago after a loss. I don't know, man. I think people can't wait till after a loss to either bang on the keyboards or get on the phone. It's like a birthright. And we talk about a lot of things in which, I don't know, like if I had to assess it, I was surprised, right? I didn't see the game playing out the way it did, especially when Nebraska had the ball for more times and that amount of snaps, right? That's not indicative of what I saw happen, or what I envisioned happening. But I'll tell you guys, there's plenty of I guess explanation to go around if I'm at the press conference, and it depends on how fast this first game goes or whatever. I may try to sneak over there, but if anybody that's in the media has the opportunity to ask a question, ask it something like this: "Hey, Coach, I know you want to move on to Iowa. It's a quick turnaround, and just a couple things about the Penn State game. How would you assess, just the fundamentals, right? Like your team's ability to just get lined up pre-snap, right? Where, I can't wait to ask the question because it looked like, and I may be exaggerating just a little bit. And again, the difference between an excuse and an explanation is ownership. So players have to own it. But you guys, I'm telling you, sure as I'm sitting here, I bet you of the first 10 or 11 plays that Nebraska lined up defensively, they lined up incorrect. Like, I get it, right? It's the third week in November. But when you play, you look at some young guys playing some key roles for the first time, like, I think it got away from them, right? I go back to, Ravi, what I told you off air about Millard South, right? It's like, the first 7 snaps, we didn't run any of the pressures that were called. So I called the guys over. That's coaching, right? Like, Coach Queen, that's myself. Like, we've got to own that. And I'm thinking to myself, hey, is the moment, like, what's going on where when we call this pressure? So then you have to kind of get an explanation, and you kind of walk through it and you regroup. I'm telling you, it took Nebraska. We always start with this, AAT, alignment, assignment, technique. Where am I lined up? What's my assignment? Then what technique do I use? AAT all the time, right? I would be curious to see how many times Nebraska was misaligned. It looked like a fair amount, especially early. There's a big difference between being in a one, a shade, a strong side shade or a weak side shade. If we're on the move and I move left and everybody else is going right, like, early on, there was a little bit too much of that where I feel like the players kind of have to own it, right? JB's going to get – Coach Butler's going to get killed, and I'll get to him in a second. But I would be curious, like, if you ask some of the players how much of it falls on them, I think they would raise their hand and stand up and fall on the grenade. Now, you do have to play better, right? I wondered how injured Javen Wright was or wasn't. I mean, he's clearly got to play better. Second level, which I told you, Ravi, was the key for me. It wasn't so much the D-line. It was fitting off of that with all the more formations and scheme. Like, you got to get a little bit more downhill. You have to be more sudden. You have to be able to play at 45 in a hurry, especially with patient runners. Fitting on the back end was a disaster. And part of that, though, and where I think scheme actually matters, is Penn State clearly saw something. When Nebraska runs a couple of coverages, I talk about it loosely because you need a dry erase board, and I'm not really interested in describing how they play defense I guess it doesn't really matter, right? Those guys can watch tape too, but they do these deals where they talk to each other and they call this defense, it's called slice, and it's got some cover two principles to it, but you have a boundary setter too that's at the corner spot. So there are a couple of play calls defensively where I'm like, either you have to check out of that or you're just going to get hit with these beaters, right? You'll see like the corner route and then the sail route. When you have a squatty corner, a deep half safety, a low hole and a high hole linebacker, that concept is going to be there. And it's almost like stealing. The running yards, because I think Penn State average, I don't know, what was it, 5.9 a play, Nebraska was in the 4s. That wasn't as egregious as I thought, like on the rewatch. What I was a little surprised at that you couldn't have is the chunk plays that they gave up in the passing game. I could handle a little bit of the run game, but 11 of 12 for 181 with what they try to do defensively, that dog just wasn't going to hunt.
Yeah, DB, I'm glad you brought that up because we've seen Nebraska at least be in games where running backs have done, frankly, pretty similar things to what Penn State did, right? I mean, Michigan, I think even USC to a certain extent, Northwestern's running back had a good day. Like we've seen, I think they weren't in the Minnesota game, but we've seen Nebraska give up big days to running backs, but because the pass defense was so good, they were able to at least give themselves a fighting chance. I was pretty stunned by the way Grunkmeyer. I mean, you heard me talk about it all week, like, hey, make him throw, make him beat you in the air, and he did. Like I told you
that kid could spin it.
Sure, yeah,
blowing smoke, but Penn, that's a good football team. That's a good football team. They didn't luck into taking Indiana down to the wire and playing Oregon tough, right? That's a very capable football team, and I wanted people to know that all week.
Yeah, and I obviously didn't feel the same way in terms of how good I thought Penn State was.
And that's cool. Like, it's not a me you thing. I'm saying.
No, I know.
There's like this give and take when an opponent plays in a game like this. The environment was crazy chill, right? I mean, I was floored at all the spaces in the stadium. And I wondered, I'm like, there's no way you could allow yourself to get lulled to sleep here. But from the moment I got there, and I was fortunate enough, I caught one of the, I had the invite to catch the bus and go over to the field right from the airport. Like, I didn't go back to our hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, from the moment I got there, you could tell that's, like, nobody enjoyed being there. I don't think Coach Rule wanted to be there. I think Penn State was, like, the whole coming home vibe was grossly overrated. Like, we got home an hour and a half ahead of schedule. But an hour and a half ahead of schedule. I think, what was player availability? 2 players? Like, they couldn't get out of there. He was already talking about moving on to Iowa. I don't know what it was, but from the jump, it really didn't sit well with the vibe. And I think once the players got there, I liked the preparation. I did. I thought warm-ups was good. I felt like it was pretty crisp. Felt like the guys were confident. I think getting stoned on that 4th and 1, that 4th and goal, I didn't have any problems not getting going for it there. But when 2 of your first 3 red zone trips, 3 of those first 3, you only end up with 3 points. I think then you start to play on your heels a little bit. And the funny thing is, Ravi, you and I kind of went through this mental exercise of, I was like, hey, I did this cool little thing with the folks out at Nebraska City. Like, if you go 4 down versus 5 down, who do you pull out? You're going to lose a natural safety. Like, there's all sorts of dilemmas. So Nebraska tried to play a lot of 4 and 5 down, and their fits, guys, out of some of the 5 down stuff just isn't gonna hold up because you're basically playing a 5-2 in concept, right? Yeah. We stopped playing 5-2s in like the 6th grade, right? Like, that's an old school Okie front, and you have to really be good at it. When I look at Deshaun Singleton's tackles, that doesn't surprise me, because in a defense like that, where you play with guys that close to the line of scrimmage, if you get to the initial first level, if you get it handled, then good backs just get to be good backs, right? Mm-hmm. So there's definitely some give and take with playing 5 down and playing with 2 linebackers and traditional 4 secondary versus, I mean, did you have 3 guys on the second level that you felt like you wanted to play well? It was just that's as poor as I've seen the secondary play as a whole in terms of getting into the box. Outside of Sierra Wright and Singleton, I think in the run game they really, really suffered.
That was going to be my question for you, Damon. Was the secondary in the pass game for the little bit that Penn State did throw the ball, were they so preoccupied with getting into the box, even though they didn't fit it all that well? Were they so preoccupied with getting into the box that's where those big pass plays came from? Because I don't know if you saw it, but I noticed a couple of times where the safeties had their eyes on the quarterbacks after the play action, and that's when those little corner, those out routes were just wide open, and there's nobody within 5 yards of the receivers.
Yeah, so those stressors are, if you think cover 2 in your head, the corner's going to squat, so he's kind of a flat defender. Yeah, this is general. And the safety over the top is a deep half guy. Inside linebacker is low hole, so he's middle of the field, low. Second linebacker, deep hole, so he's splitting the hash. Other safeties, same thing, other side over the top of number one, the corner squat. So you get these two concepts. They've run an over route, and they've run it's almost like it acts like a corner because it's a corner route because it's supposed to hold your safety and be over the head of your corner, but you run the over route behind it, and if you have time, I mean, it's just a natural cover two beater. So I think that's the part where I think schematically those play calls and those checks don't really give your guys a chance at success, but it's also predicated on not having a quarterback have time to survey the field too. And as we saw, pressure just was, well, it really pressure. The pass rush just really didn't get home. So it's kind of a recipe for disaster. I mean, they basically, you laid an egg on a multitude of levels, but I'm telling you, sure as I'm sitting here, and this isn't me being the eternal optimist, because I'll keep it real with you. You don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. What Nebraska needs to do and wants to do against Iowa this week will be vastly different from how I think they'll need to have defended Penn State. Now, I get it. Penn State ran the ball. Iowa wants to run the ball. We can get all to the run comps, but how they get there is different, and what they do off of it is different. So you'll see Nebraska, I think, number one, I don't know. It's Monday. I may change my mind. I think you have to shuttle in some different bodies in the secondary, right? I'm not just saying that obviously because the elephant in the room is I have a son that plays secondary, but in a multitude of areas, I think you have to tinker with how you want to play back there because it has to complement what's going on the second level too. If Javen Wright's not healthy, you have to cover up for what he's capable of doing, what you normally ask him to do. If Jacob Bauer is playing, which by the way, this is one of those weeks where I didn't love the Pro Football Focus weekly grade. Bauer played better than his grade. Don't let anybody with a brain tell you different. He gets downhill, but for a downhill guy that plays in a hallway, you have to play. There's certain things you can't do on the back end behind him because he's not going to give you that kind of coverage. If Shavers is going to be more of your weak side guy that plays out in space, he's got to trigger quicker, right? He's got to be a little lighter on his feet. Fundamentally, he's got to shoot his shot. So it all goes together. We can nag and whine about the D-line, but most of us that do don't really know what we're talking about. That doesn't mean you can't have an opinion. It's just not as, oh, we can't fix this, hit the portal. Like, that's not how coaching works. When I'm on the move and I slant, I cannot get washed. Once I get lateral and I hit my 45 stunt, work back vertical. Anybody that coaches this game will tell you that's just football 101. Hey, get back vertical, don't get washed. Ask coaches how many times they say, get back vertical, don't get washed. Just a little too much of that, right? The first run to Allen, the first long run, you know, if Cam, first of all, they went the wrong way. Like, that's number one. There's no way on that long run they hit that right as a D-line. So the gap that Shavers tried to fit where he kind of hesitated, it shouldn't have even been there. Now, having said that, that's probably a play Nine's got to make. You know, I thought 37 can't really stack him. You know, they got to figure out how to replace when they get crack blocks and your eyes go inside with a receiver. They're doing that to get you in conflict. They did it on the screen pass, the little two-man concept that they scored inside the 10. They did the exact same thing that they did on the run. The number one receiver does short motion. He cracks the safety, 2 goes out. Well, they got Donovan on it the first time in the run. Then they got it on the same concept on the pass inside the 10 because of how Nebraska likes to play defensively. Do you have to play better leverage? Absolutely. Do you need to go back over crack replacing? Probably. But you can also help them out, which is what I think they'll do this week, by playing a little more one high, not just to show to stop the run, but playing more one high and actually use pass defense out of it.
DB, we've got to get to Arif Hasan here, talk a little NFL. Anything you want me to ask him on the NFL?
No, I mean, I get it. The Ravens were inevitably going to run down the Steelers, but I'm going to ask the one question. Is Jacksonville good?
I knew I was going to. I already had that one ready to go for you. I already had that one ready to go.
Damon, should I ask why Drake May and the Patriots are so great?
I love that guy come out of the draft. That's one of the rare things that I got right was the Drake May love test. So I saw a stat yesterday about accuracy of passing. He leads the NFL in accuracy of target. That means like when he throws the ball, it is the most likely to be in an area where his receiver can catch it. He's like an 80-some percenter. Do you know where the great J.J. McCarthy is relative to that?
Less than half.
45%.
Oh, it's pretty close. I was pretty close.
You got the Damon math brain going.
The league average is like 70%. The league average. Josh Allen is 12th at like 73%. Like, what are we doing, JJ?
Not throwing.
It's because Drake May is a Tom Brady clone.
To anyone. DB, have a.
He's about it too, man. Drake May, take the guy went to the crew because he's competitive. Drake May's that dude.
All right, DB. Have great calls today. We will we'll see you here tomorrow. Appreciate the time on the phone, and I'm sure we'll get into plenty more tomorrow. Appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, you got it. Anytime, fellas.
That is our guy, DB. We're going to take a super quick break here, and then we'll get to our guy, Arif Hasan. Appreciate Arif being patient with us here in the stream. We'll be joined by him, talk a little NFL in just a minute. And I will, in fact, ask the question, is Jacksonville good? We have no idea. We'll be right back. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
The Black Friday sales event is on at Edwards Hyundai. Give thanks and get driving. Lease the 2025 Hyundai Tucson SE all-wheel drive starting at $269 a month. Built to make every mile smarter. Or step up to the 2026 Hyundai Palisade SEL Convenience all-wheel drive. Lease starting at $389 a month. Room for everyone, comfort for every trip. Don't miss these Black Friday savings. Hurry to Edwards Hyundai before they're gone. Learn more at edwardshyundai.com.
The first drive was great. We had, I think, 3 or 4 couple of good drives where we got down the red zone. We just got to go execute when we get down there and score. Every time we got down there, we had a great opportunity. We just got to make the plays. I mean, obviously, it's hard because we lost, but it's a quick turnaround, and we all know we got a great opponent ahead, and so we just got to flip the script and get ready for them. Yeah, he handled it really well. He was out there scrambling, trying to run people over. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to do whatever it took to help the team win. And so I'm really excited for him, man, and how he handled it today. We just got to keep growing from it and then just execute.
There.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's Rico. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports headquarters. We are joined now by Arif Hasan from Football. Riff, how are we doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing all right. You know, just kind of going through group therapy session after Nebraska's game on Saturday. So, you know, that's always fun. But here to talk some NFL with you now. I know you were in the chat while Damon was in there a little bit. So we'll just start off with the most pressing question: is Jacksonville good at football?
Man, I had a lot of time to research it, given the 10-minute head up I got, but I don't know. I don't.
Perfect.
I mean, I like Trevor Lawrence. I think I'm one of his last defenders. I think that, he does a lot of things really well when you watch the film, and then you look at the statistics and you're like, what's going on here? What did I look at? And I think the issue is, he's doing a lot of things right, but he's not doing a lot of things to make the people around him better. I think that might be kind of my compromise on what I'm looking at versus kind of what the results are, because the results have been the results for years for him, right? I think that he's fundamentally a pretty good quarterback, but I guess he's not elevating, right? I think adding, somebody like a Jacoby Myers who had a really good game, helped things a lot, but yeah, of course, like Brian Thomas is not having the year that you wanted him to have and all that, but there really should just be more production offensively. And, defensively, I think Jacoby Brissett's one of the best backup quarterbacks you could ever have, but he's still a backup quarterback. I think there should have been just kind of more going on, especially without Marvin Harrison in the lineup. It's tough, right? They're 7-4. It's not actually an easy division that they're in. But you look at the team, you see the results, you see who they're beating, and it just feels really difficult for you to be confident to say that they're good. I can see how they could be good is the best I can give you.
Okay, I have another very similar question that may or may not have a more clear answer. Are the Chicago Bears good?
I think probably not. I think a lot of their wins have been close. They've been against bad teams. I cover a lot of Vikings games, so I know exactly how bad these teams can get. And I think that they're a team that kind of relies a lot on explosives and heroics, and they don't have a ton of sustainability to what they do. I think defensively, a lot of people, I think, are envisioning last year's Chicago Bears defense, and it's not really appearing in the same ways. I think that they're on a razor's edge. I think it's tough to say that the division leader of a division that I do think has good teams, like the Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers, isn't that good. But this is all relative to their expectations. I think that the Chicago Bears are a much better team than a lot of teams that are out of the playoff race, for sure. So in that sense, they're good. But I just don't think they're as good as you would expect a division leader to be.
Okay, one more. Well, maybe one more. At least one more. Is Seattle good?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Seattle's good. Unless they play the Rams, they're an outstanding team.
As I look at their wins, I look, okay, like Saints, Cardinals twice, Commanders, Titans. Like a lot of their wins are kind of like, eh.
No, for sure. I totally get it. I think that when you look at when good teams have schedules full of bad teams, how are they winning, and can they replicate this once you elevate your competition? Again, they had that competition against the Rams. They didn't do nearly as well as they should have. I also think the Rams just kind of have their number in a way that makes it really difficult for me to fully discount that performance. But they beat teams in the way that you expect good teams to win. Sam Darnold sometimes has these perfect games, nearly perfect statistics, almost perfect play, and the defense shows up in big ways. You've seen the evolution of players like Boye Mafe. You've seen what Devin Witherspoon can do, and I think that all of that together gives us a really good team. Now, the NFC, I don't think has established like a dominant team yet, except for maybe actually the Rams. So I can't say that the Seahawks are like the best team in the NFC or what we would expect a conference leader to look like. But I do think that they're fundamentally a good team.
So we went from we don't know, not good, to an actually good team. Now I'm going to ask you about another actually good team, but I'm gonna kind of phrase this so I ask you in what Cam Newton said. Are the Patriots fool's gold? Is this kind of based on the easy schedule that they've had this season, or has Vrabel actually turned this team into what can be and what is a division leading team?
Let me put it like in between the two answers, between the Bears and the Seahawks, right? I think they're a pretty good team. I think they're an above average team. I think they're better than a lot of contenders trying to get into the playoffs. I don't think they're as good as their record. I think that the schedule kind of demonstrates that a little bit. And I think that there's just some kind of holes just all around the team, right? I don't think they've got, the receivers to make good on what Drake May is doing talent-wise. I think that he's just playing outstandingly well, right? I think that his ability to kind of hunt for deep balls or take the check down when you need to is excellent. I don't think the offensive line is fully there in a way that they need it to be. I think defensively they've got the best defensive interior when healthy of any defensive line in the league, and Christian Gonzalez is playing outstanding ball. But then I think the edge pass rush is a concern. I think the linebackers are a concern. So there are some holes defensively, and some issues offensively that prevent them from being a fully well-oiled machine. And a lot of great teams don't have every hole filled, right? But I think there's just too many problems for the Patriots for me to think that in the play, like they might win a game, right? They might advance around, but there's just too many problems for me to think that this is a serious contender for, an AFC championship or anything like that. So yeah, they're a good team, but I don't think they're as good as I think their record suggests.
Okay, I disagree. They're a great team, but it's okay.
He's a Patriots fan, to be clear. So I'm going to ask you a different question before I return to my are they good or not, because I do have two more that I thought of while we were having this conversation. You mentioned kind of the holes that you see on the Patriots team, even though they're the first team to 10 wins or whatever. And I think you made a lot of good points there. Is there a team what's the team that you have the fewest questions about, to the positive? I mean, I have very few questions about like the Titans, but that's,
Yeah, they've all been answered, right? Yeah.
Jim Ward's a freak, but they're bad.
I think I'm going to go back to the Rams. I think that the Rams, this might be one of, and this feels so weird to say because I wouldn't have thought this going into the season. This might be one of the more talented teams Sean McVay is coaching. He's won a Super Bowl, right? Yeah. Now, obviously, they don't have Aaron Donald and have Jalen Ramsey. I don't want to overstate my case here, but I think the breadth and spread of talent that they have across a bunch of different positions, the way we're seeing players like Kobe Durant playing, the way that we're seeing, Kobe Turner and Jared Verse and all of that entire defensive line playing, right? That breadth of talent is something that I think that they've been missing for a while. And it goes back to the fact that 2 years ago, they had 30 rookies show up in camp, the most I've ever seen. And a lot of those guys turned out to be pretty good. They're pretty cost controlled. And so now you've got the ability to, double down and, extend or continue along with Matthew Stafford, who is playing at an MVP level. You've got, Puka Nacua, you've got Devontae Adams just killing people. You've got a really good running back combination. The offensive line is functional here. So I have very few questions about the Los Angeles Rams, and the play caller has done so much. He led the league in 11 personnel 7 years ago, and now he's leading the league in not having 11 personnel out there. He's got the fewest, right? He's got 13 personnel out there. He's doing crazy stuff, and he's constantly innovating. And I think that that's what you need when you've got it's the opposite of a Mike McDaniel, right? It's you found one weird trick. Well, now it's time to find another one. Now it's time to find another one. He continues to do it. And this roster is really special in ways that aren't as star-studded as, some of the previous rosters. No one's ever going to be as good as Aaron Donald. I don't think they've got a player as good as Jalen Ramsey, but the depth and the breadth of this talent is outstanding.
Let's stay with the NFC West there for a second. You said Seattle's good. You said Los Angeles has the fewest questions. Are the 49ers good? What do you do with them? I know health has been a huge issue.
Yeah, health is the biggest issue.
Yeah.
Fully healthy, that's a juggernaut, I think, right? But you don't have Fred Warner, you don't have Bosa. It's just tough for me to kind of buy in to what they can do. I don't know what's going on with the Mac Jones, Brock Purdy deal. But I think that what Shanahan has been able to do, right? What Shanahan has been able to do is he's been able to get as much possible out of every quarterback that comes his way, right? But there is a limit to what can happen in that context. And when you go up against, defenses that are particularized against what you do, like the Rams, right? That it just kind of falls apart. So I think Mac Jones in a Shanahan style offense, which, was the vision that a lot of people had when they drafted Trey Lance, is a good enough team to beat half the teams in the league. So in that sense, they're good. But in the sense that I expect them to perform against other good teams, no, I don't really think that they've got the horses in the way they had 2-3 years ago. I never want to count Kyle Shanahan out, but I just think that this is a team with 7 wins, right? That this is a team that's overperforming right now, and I think it'll come back down to earth a little bit.
Is that the best division for you? The most competitive one, NFC West?
I think so. I think record-wise, is it the NFC North? I always forget, but I just talked about how 2 of those teams are bad or frauds, right? So it doesn't count for me.
Yeah, the NFC West does have more wins, I believe, than the NFC.
Yes,
NFC North.
The NFC West has 9, 8, and 7 wins as the top 3. The NFC North has 8, 7, and 7.
Okay. Yeah, and so I'll take the NFC West, and I think that actually the gap between the two is somewhat significant. The Lions aren't playing up to their expectation. I assume that they'll bounce back a little bit. The Packers are playing about where I expect them to be. The Bears, I think, are playing above expectation. I think they'll fall down a little bit. So, but the NFC West, I think really it's just the 49ers overperforming. And I would expect the Seahawks and the Rams to kind of continue at this pace. And so to me, that's got to be the best division of football.
Kind of keeping it in the West, the Kansas City Chiefs get a huge overtime win over the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, what's going on in Kansas City? What's happening with the Chiefs, and is there any chance that they'll be able to string enough wins together to get back into the playoffs?
I mean, they're God's favorite team, so I expect it's.
That's true.
Yeah, I expect at some point, they'll sneak into the playoffs, cause some damage, but this isn't really going to be like one of those years where they make a run, right? I think that, man, Spagnuolo is so good, and we saw that against the Colts, but I just don't know that, I was talking about the breadth of talent that the Rams have defensively and how they've plugged every hole. That's not what the Chiefs have. They've got some great individual talents. I'm actually a big fan of Jalen Watson at corner, right? Of course, I love McDuffie at corner. I think Chris Jones obviously is fantastic, but there's just not enough pieces kind of around them to really support what Spagnuolo wants to do on defense to consistently have the kind of performances like they just had against the Colts. And so I think that that's going to hurt them. And the Chiefs the last 2-3 years are actually more defensively minded than they are, or defensively led, maybe is a better way to put it, than offensively led, despite kind of the star power Patrick Mahomes. And getting Rashee Rice back, obviously, we just saw in that game, huge, right? It's been huge, but I don't think it's just enough for them to kind of move forward and be the explosive kind of offense that they might need to be when they play the Bills again in the playoffs. I think this time the Bills, if that happens, right, I think the Bills will finally kind of get their playoff win against the Chiefs. I think that's just, we're not there yet, but they are demonstrating why they're so dangerous, how they could ruin someone's day, and why next year is another year where we just have to be like, no, it's these guys again. Crap.
What do we do? What do we do with the AFC North? You've got the Ravens, who were bad for a long time. Now they've won 5 in a row. You have the Steelers, who never really felt like they were probably gonna be able to hold on to that lead. And then you've got the state of Ohio doing what they do.
Hey, sure, gotta win.
Well,
whatever they're up to.
Whatever Ohio's doing, probably focusing on the Buckeyes.
Yeah, they have the Buckeyes.
They're good.
Is it as clear as just like, hey, the Ravens had this terrible start, they're healthy now, they're off to the races, or is there any path forward for Pittsburgh here to be competitive in that division?
I don't see Pittsburgh as having that path. I think the Ravens are the clear team to beat. And I think some of it is health. Some of it, I think, was smart roster moves. I mean, the ability to, like, even just grabbing, I forget, Alohi Gilman from the Chargers has allowed them to kind of change their entire defensive setup to allow, Kyle Hamilton, who I hope is healthy, to move around a lot more and make that defense, more effective. The past 2 years, whenever they've moved Kyle Hamilton as a result of a midseason acquisition, it has drastically improved the state of the defense. And while I don't think that this is a team that's going to be defined by its defense like we imagine the Ravens historically to be, I think it's good enough that you allow somebody like Lamar Jackson to kind of take over. And Derrick Henry having a couple of fumbles at the beginning of the year, I think we all kind of understood that was so unusual and infrequent throughout his career that it probably wasn't going to continue happening. And it really didn't after the first couple of games. I think there was like one more, right? And removing that turnover function, right, and continuing to have Lamar Jackson do what he does, being an elite high-level passer. Like, when you take a look at like his 2019 season, the first time he won an MVP, he was running the ball all the time, and he still has all of that ability, but now they're just kind of reserving it for times when they just really need him to run the ball. And so it really makes it difficult for teams to continue to adjust what they're doing defensively, because the Ravens have the ability to adjust constantly what they're doing offensively. So when you've got, the talents of like Zay Flowers, when you've got Mark Andrews playing back at probably not his rookie level, but back at a high level, and you've got Isaiah Likely doing what he's doing, there's just so many threats and weapons for the Ravens offensively that they can kind of overcome the fact that their defense is merely good instead of great. So, and that's way better than you can say about, I think, any other AFC North team, where the Steelers defense is occasionally good, right? And which always feels weird to say. And I didn't see a huge difference between Mason Rudolph and Aaron Rodgers, if I'm being completely honest. And that maybe tells you about the state of their offense. So, so I don't see the Steelers catching up.
What do you do with? I mean, I kind of want to ask a Raiders question here, even though they're terrible.
Fire more coaches.
Is someone at some point just going to realize like the NFL is not for Chip Kelly?
I think this is it. I think this is his last ride in the NFL. He, to his credit, he has continued to evolve his like offensive game planning. This looks nothing like he did with Oregon or the Eagles, but it's not enough, right? I think he just came into the normal offense game way too late to get a good understanding of what like real big boy offenses look like. And so, like the adaptations and the changes and the alterations that you might make to an offense from week to week or game to game just aren't like inherent to what he does. And so, it just doesn't seem like it's fit for the NFL, because in the NFL, like you can't just use the hash marks and extents. That's been talked up forever. But like the week to week adjustments can be as small as, hey, I need you as a receiver to move 2 feet to the left when we run this play, because they tend to run inside leverage, and so that's going to allow us to really like, jab inside and step outside. We've got an outside go option or something like that. Right. And that's like not the kind of adjustment that you make in college. And it's seemingly kind of necessary in the NFL to be that specific and tight with the way that you coach and the way that you call plays. And Chip Kelly has never been one for like sequencing. He's never been one for doing any of those things. So I think that's like gotta be it. I would be shocked. Like I could see him getting like a consultant position, like, hey, you have a job, you're my friend, here's $100,000, like friends give each other, right? But I don't see him as like an offensive coordinator.
Arif, are we friends?
You seem like you have better friends than I do.
Was gonna say, I don't have friends that do that.
I buy you lunch sometimes.
You do, but that's not $100,000. I think I'd rather screw lunch.
So, wanted to ask about the Colts. Do you think we've started to see a little bit of a regression back to the mean with Indianapolis, or was that just the weird Kansas City voodoo that we saw this weekend? Like, what do you? I still don't really know what to do with them, and maybe it's because I'm a Daniel Jones doubter. I don't know what to do with it.
I think it's fair to be a Daniel Jones doubter, right? I think we see a lot of these late blossoming quarterbacks, let's call it, which like Geno Smith, like last 2 years, Sam Darnold this year, last year. And I think that when push comes to shove for a lot of these guys, and this is totally anecdotal, I don't know if I have like the goods on this one, but it feels like when they go up against kind of a high level defensive plan, not even necessarily a high level defensive team, but a high level defensive plan, things kind of fall apart for them a little bit, which is, I think, why Darnold fell apart against the Rams. I think the last 4 years he's played them. I think that, that's one reason that Geno Smith has been like good, not great, in his efforts over the past couple of years. I think that if you're not the guy, that's it. Like, it doesn't matter how good your statistics are midway through the season. That said, I think Daniel Jones is playing at a really, really high level. And I also think that it's pretty rare for Jonathan Taylor to be held to like 3.6 yards a carry. I don't know that that's going to happen again. And I credit to the Chiefs, but I just don't know if there's like a blueprint out there that you can replicate again and again and again to prevent Jonathan Taylor from ripping off 40 yards on a single run and just kind of ruining your day. So I don't think that it's over for the Colts by any means, but I think that this kind of demonstrates to us, what their ceiling might be unless Daniel Jones unlocks like another gear, which I would be kind of excited to see because it's kind of funny. But I don't necessarily see that happening.
The comedy would be high. I agree with you there.
I kind of want to just give you an open forum to get on a box and talk about the Minnesota Vikings.
Jeez. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What a fumble, right?
Is it just that JJ McCarthy's that bad? Like, is it just JJ?
Yes and no. If you change the quarterback, say let's pick a quarterback at random, Sam Darnold or Daniel Jones. I don't know.
I don't know. Sam Darnold.
You mean the two guys that were on the roster at the end of last year?
Whatever.
Right, yeah, just a random quarterback. I would think that the Vikings are in playoff position. So in that sense, like it's clearly JJ McCarthy, right? Like if you switched a quarterback and now they're in the playoffs, like it's probably the quarterback's fault.
Yeah.
But I also want to say that like he has been held back in the same sense that like you put hurdles in front of the slowest runner at the track meet. Like you didn't need to do that, but now he's really slow, right? Like that's kind of where I feel like it's like, well, like, these obstacles don't need to be here, but I don't know how much removing them would help. You know, that's where I'm at, right? I think that for most of the year, the game plan has been a little bit too focused on dialing up deep shots and asking him to hold on to the ball, which he has taken and run with. He's like I believe he's second in the league right now in time to throw. And the number one is Caleb Williams, but like obviously we kind of let him do that because of all the stuff he does after the 3-second mark. That's not what McCarthy is doing. You don't get the right to that. So he's waiting too long to throw. Up until this game against the Packers, he was the deepest thrower in the league. It was not doing him any good. I don't think anyone with a sane brain would blame Justin Jefferson for making this guy worse, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, there are problems. And he for most of the games, he had a below average offensive line to a catastrophically bad one at times, but they're all healthy now. So, that can't be the whole thing. He has been put into a position where it's been a little bit harder for him to succeed by a bunch of different elements. They're not doing a ton of play action with him. They're leaning on him to throw the ball a ton on first and second down. Just not something he's used to. He's learning an entirely new offensive playbook. They're changing his mechanics. All of these things are making things more difficult for him. But fundamentally, the problem is that he's not good. And when you take a quarterback who's not, and I'm not saying he won't be good. That's all, everything's possible, right? But if you take a quarterback who's not good and then you make him worse, the result are these kinds of production numbers.
Are you surprised at all that Minnesota with KOC as head coach has sort of been a quarterback guru, hasn't been able to figure it out a little bit better with McCarthy?
A little bit, but also I think that some of it is that the Minnesota's pro scouting staff is outstanding. Their ability to bring in free agents is incredible. They've got hit after hit after hit of free agent. People like Cashman, Jonathan Grenard, even like small time free agents like Ivan Pace, Jalen Redmond. Just like their ability to bring in Byron Murphy was a huge hit. Their ability to bring in free agents is fantastic. That includes players like Sam Darnold, players like evidently Daniel Jones. I mean, we didn't really see him play in Minnesota, so limited. but like their ability, like trading for Joshua Dobbs and getting those 3 games out of him was incredible stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it could just be that the college scouting staff and the pro scouting staff, those are different skill sets, those are different people. And you take a look at Minnesota's drafts, it is just not good. It's just not good. And I think that whatever's happening with the college scouting is interfering with the ability of Kevin O'Connell to get the most out of these guys, because he has things he desires in a quarterback, some of which McCarthy kind of superficially has. He wants quarterbacks to stand in the pocket and take a hit. I mean, you take a look at how Kirk Cousins played, how Sam Darnold played, how Joshua Dobbs played. They would stand down the barrel of the gun and take a hit, but it was a 20-yard completion. McCarthy will also do that, but it's not complete, right? That's the other end of that equation. Mm-hmm. He's just taking a hit for the love of the game.
Kind of like Jackson Dart.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Right. But
scramble a bit.
Yeah, just a tiny bit. But yeah, I think that he superficially has a lot of these traits, but the college scouting staff didn't do a very good job of going through all of the other elements that might help kind of determine what produces a good starting quarterback in the NFL. So I think that that's playing a role, but also I mean, I don't know, sometimes players are bad and the best coach in the world can't get the most out of them, or the best coach in the world has to have more than an injured off season and a healthy off season to kind of figure something out for a quarterback who's the youngest in his draft class, one of the youngest in the NFL, that will need a lot more to go on. But yeah, fundamentally, I'm surprised because I assumed his ability to fix quarterbacks extended to his ability to evaluate which quarterbacks could be fixed. I thought that was a reasonable assumption, and maybe that's not the case.
I mean, to your point with that, Kyle Shanahan did draft Trey Lance as well. So,
Right. No, exactly.
Like he can turn Mac Jones into a functional quarterback, but he's like, yeah, Trey Lance, that seems like the guy.
That's my guy.
That's the one.
Great stuff as always. We appreciate the time. And I'm sure we will talk to you again soon. I hope you don't have to watch too many more Minnesota games.
I won't be able to live up to that hope, but thank you for bringing me on. It's been fun.
It's one of the hard ones where I want to say at least you get to watch Justin Jefferson, but he can't get the ball.
Not really.
No.
So you don't. So it's I'm sorry.
Oh.
We appreciate it. That is Arif Hasan from wideleft.football. Great stuff as always from him. Appreciate the time for sure. I still don't really there's a lot of teams I don't know if they're good or not. A lot of them.
Nobody's good. Everybody's good. I don't know.
It's hard to say.
Everybody sucks, but everybody's also good.
That's not a
technically thing. Tennessee hasn't been eliminated from the playoffs. I don't know how.
Wait, is that right?
Yeah, I was on the NFL standings on ESPN. They don't have an E next to them, but the Giants do, who have one more win than the Titans. I don't know.
Welcome to the AFC South.
They are 1-10. Las Vegas is 2-9. Cleveland is 3-8. The Jets are 2-9. None of them have been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs yet.
My favorite part of
the Giants have
is all of these teams that are terrible this year and need quarterbacks. There's no help in the draft for them.
There's no good quarterbacks.
There's not a soul.
Unless you think Fernando Mendoza is going to be your saving grace.
That's about Fernando Mendoza, maybe Ty Simpson, but none of the guys before the start of the year.
Yeah, shout out to the last Alabama quarterback who was drafted in the first round. He's with your team now.
Mac Jones.
There you go.
Functional quarterback in the NFL.
Because that's what you need as a 2-10 team.
Yeah. Sometimes.
It's function.
I mean, as a 2-10 team, you probably need some functionality across the board here.
That's actually
not just at the quarterback spot. Let's take a quick break here. We will get into the last half hour of the show. Appreciate Arif with the NFL stuff there. We'll get back into, I'm sure, plenty of other things. Lots of stuff happened this weekend. Coaches got fired.
Yeah. I was speaking about Fernando Mendoza. Cal just fired their head coach for I don't know why.
We'll get into that as well. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. It's Hurrdat Sports Live. Real quick, though, before we take the break, got to tell you about our friends at Centris Federal Credit Union. It's already time to start thinking about buying gifts, holiday decor, and food. This holiday season, give yourself the gift of savings as well while shopping with Centris Federal Credit Union. They've got their Roundup program. What are you pointing at?
It's in the stream. I'm pointing at the Centris logo.
Oh, okay. I was like, there's nothing
here. Just keep doing. Do your read.
Distracting the hell out of me. When you enroll in Centris Roundup, every purchase you make with Centris Visa debit card gets rounded up to the nearest whole dollar. That money gets transferred from your checking to your savings. It's a simple way to help grow your savings throughout the holiday season, even what might be more expensive time of the year. You save a little bit as well. Learn more about Centris Roundup at centrisfcu.org. Terms and conditions applied. Federally insured by NCUA. We'll be right back. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
The Black Friday sales event is on at Edwards Ram and Jeep, Village Point, and Council Bluffs. Lease the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn 4x4 for $339 a month, or get $17,000 off MSRP. 2 locations, massive selections. Or make room for every mile in the 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee L Limited 4x4. Lease for $329 a month, or save $13,000 off MSRP. Luxury meets capability in every mile. Bigger savings at Edwards Ram and Jeep, Village Point, and Council Bluffs.
I think we came in here, we knew what was coming, and we didn't execute. Like they executed. They were more physical than us. As simple as that. So I don't know why we didn't come with the right mindset. I felt we were prepared, but when the time came to it, we didn't execute. So we'll be better next week. They definitely did a good job of running their pass looks off of their run looks. I think that was a good job by them. So I think we have to be better at seeing our run pass keys so that we don't get drawn up on play actions and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said. I think if we have bad run pass keys and we're getting sucked up on the run, It's easier to complete, bigger passes. So I think we just have to be more disciplined. But yeah, we'll be better.
We're in the neighborhood, just down the street. With a wide variety of home equity products to help you create a relaxing oasis. So you can kick back and relax in comfort. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Here's Gibbs on first down. Jahmyr Gibbs across midfield. One man to beat. Inside the 20, the 10. Touchdown on the first play from scrimmage. In overtime. Remember, the Giants will have an opportunity. Gibbs takes it 69 yards.
Catches it at the 1. He gets a good block. And Gibson out across. He fumbles it. It's loose. Cowboys recovered it.
Cousins wants to take a shot. It's Mooney. It is caught. It's a touchdown. Shades of 2024 as Cousins finds Mooney for the touchdown.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's Rico and Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. Appreciate Arif Hasan joining us. The good stuff there from Arif. WideLeft.football is where you can find his work. Always enjoy talking to him. There was you brought up.
I don't know what kind of friends he has. Talk about $100,000. Here, you're my friend. Here's $100,000. I need his friends.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go see if we can find his friend. No, I think I enjoy talking to him. He's always a good time and a good insight there as well. You brought up a firing this weekend.
Yes.
of Justin Wilcox.
It doesn't make sense.
So it kind of it brought up this thing that I've been wondering for a while now, especially with the schools that have made firings, the schools that haven't made firings. I'm looking at Wisconsin and Florida State primarily. Those are the big ones there.
So Wisconsin's keeping their coach now.
Wisconsin's keeping those.
Weird.
We don't know. I honestly don't think they have the money to fire him. I think that's what. I genuinely think that's the thing. Obviously, Florida State's looking for the money to fire to fire Mike Norvell.
They're working on it.
I don't know if they're gonna find it or not. Here's what I've been trying to figure out. So 9 years at Cal, Justin Wilcox, 48-55. His best year was year 3. They went 7-5 and then won their bowl game. So they got an 8th win there.
Shout out to the Red Box Bowl.
Yeah, big Red Box Bowl fan.
I love Red Box. I don't think they're around anymore. I can't find one.
I saw one somewhat recently. Oh, there at least. I don't remember when this was, but it's within the last year. There was one still at the Walgreens at 132nd and Center.
Okay.
There
I
are
love Red Box.
I feel like at pharmacies. They're still red boxes.
There was one at the Hy-Vee that I go to on, I think it's like 27th in Lincoln.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's there anymore. They like moved it into like a corner and I can't find it.
So obviously there's been varying measures of success. They're going to make a bowl this year. They're 6-5. They made a bowl last year. They made a bowl the year before. That's 3 bowls in a row for them. That will be his 5th bowl appearance in 9 years at Cal. And I think Cal's a pretty challenging job. It's an academically rigorous school. It doesn't get the same credit that like a Stanford does, or some of those other schools.
But
like
you got to be smart,
even like a Notre Dame or a Vanderbilt. They always talk about the academic rigor. Cal is in that category as well. But it makes me wonder. I think a lot of schools are going to have to have sort of come to Jesus meetings with themselves about where they fall in the new college football landscape. Because Cal is a school I look at and I go, what does Cal, and this is not, I'm not trying to answer it for them necessarily, but what does Cal expect themselves to be moving forward as an ACC school
in California?
Famously not on the Atlantic coast.
Says you.
Says geography.
What were the 2 conferences for the ACC? Coastal and what?
It was the Coastal and I don't even remember.
You know what it is now? Coastal and Pacific.
ACC, Coastal and Coastal.
Yep.
It is I think it's a really interesting and difficult conversation that schools are going to have to start having about where they fit. Right? Because I look at Cal and maybe they can compete in the ACC. That's a more open conference than an SEC or a Big Ten, obviously. But you look at a Wisconsin, you look at some of these schools that, I look at Vanderbilt. I look at a lot of these schools that are probably not going to be able to commit long-term the financial resources required to compete at this level.
Yeah.
And I go, honestly, I think Justin Wilcox is a pretty good coach. If you watch those teams play, they're well coached.
Yeah.
It seems like his ability to evaluate quarterback talent in particular is very good.
He's also just really good at evaluating talent. Isaiah Hunter came from Cal.
Yeah.
People forget.
Fernando
Mendoza came from Cal. Like, they have talent. It's hard to keep it.
And it's hard to get enough of it to make a difference, right? They're in a place where I would say they're at best 4th in the pecking order, maybe 5th for guys in that region, kind of Northern California up the Pacific coast in that area, because they're behind 100% behind Oregon, 100% behind Washington. I would argue they might be behind Boise State.
Probably just in terms of getting into the school.
Well, yeah, in terms of getting into the school, and like Boise State has a better football tradition than Cal does.
Yeah.
Right. So at best, I think they're 4th in the pecking order in their own region. That's not to say they can't improve, but my point is it's very hard, even if there is a talent-rich area. It'd be like saying USF should be better. They're in Florida. It's like, yeah, but everybody recruits in Florida.
Yeah, they're in Florida, but first off, everybody recruits in Florida.
And they're like 4th or 5th in the pecking order.
Yeah, like you're behind Florida. You're behind Florida. You're behind Florida State. You're behind Miami.
You're probably behind UCF.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, they're not just taking like the best players. Like, they're taking the best players and then the second best players and then the third best players.
They're taking a bunch of them.
And you're just left with guys who like maybe could have gone there, but just fell out of the recruitment. And even then, those guys are like, oh, well, you know what? SMU offered me. Let me go to Texas real quick. Let me, a different school. Let me go over there. So and for Cal, they're one of those schools where, like you said, like a Vanderbilt, where you kind of just have to catch lightning in a bottle every so often, every few years. You're not going to consistently be like a top 10 or even a top 25 program at that school, just based on how difficult it's going to be to get kids there, to get recruits there. But every once in a while, every once in a while, you can have a team that you put together that all of a sudden, last year, before their season went down the drain, College Game Day was there. They were a top 15 team, I believe.
Yeah, top 25 for sure.
Yeah, like they were getting really close. Everybody was hyped on Cal. They had Fernando Mendoza. They had an Isaiah Hunter, who was, a star at the time. And like their team was the buzz, and then they lose that game. I don't even remember who they lost to when game day was there. Remember. But they lose that game, and then it kind of all went downhill. And then you lose your best players because they want to go somewhere and win right away. They want to go somewhere with a better tradition.
They want to go somewhere that can pay them the market value for their talents.
I don't know what Cal's NIL is. I don't know who's putting money into the Cal football program.
I have to imagine it is tough to compete with the Oregons, Washingtons, USCs of the world on the West Coast, that it's hard to compete with the North Carolinas, Clemsons, Florida States in their own conference in terms of NIL.
Yep.
I look a lot. I don't. It's really hard to know what any individual team's NIL is because this just isn't really publicly available information. But I look at them.
It shouldn't.
I mean, I'd like to know honestly, but it doesn't mean they should tell me. I sort of look at them almost like they've been much better than this, but I almost look at them like a Purdue, where it's like, where does Purdue land? Like, where does Purdue fit in the new landscape of college football? And so when you've got a guy like Justin Wilcox, who you're consistently competitive and you're making bowl games over half the time, I do wonder if you say, hey, is our best chance to catch that lightning in a bottle with a guy like Justin Wilcox, who we like his talent evaluation. He consistently can get good quarterback play, which seems like a big part of the deal, especially if you're looking at like a Vanderbilt of the world.
That's where you start.
And then you go, okay, do I like my chances to catch lightning in a bottle with that guy? Or do I basically just want to play the lottery or play a slot machine and hope for the best? I don't know the answer, but I do know there's going to be a bunch of teams in college football that have to decide where they fit and how much money they want to invest in this, because otherwise you're just going to be on this constant cycle of firing coaches, giving them a hand. And listen, Justin Wilcox had more than a handful of years. He was there almost a decade. But I'm going to have a hard time believing, and maybe I think more highly of Justin Wilcox than other people do. I don't think so, but maybe. I think they're going to have a hard time finding a better football coach than Justin Wilcox, considering what it appears their investment is in the program. I mean, my only frame of reference for their NIL is their pursuit of Charmar Brown last offseason, because it was them in Miami and then Nebraska got involved. And I know they were trying to pay Charmar. I know Miami bigfooted him. And like they have for a lot of people, that's kind of how Miami does.
Miami could do that.
Right. And so, I don't really know anything outside of that for their NIL. I don't know if that's something they can do, be competitive dollar-wise with teams like Miami on a consistent basis, if it was just for that one specific player. I really don't know. What I do know is you're going to have a lot of teams having to make tough decisions about who they want to be and where they can realistically fit in college football.
Yeah. Before we get to a break, I just Cal and like some of these other schools who maybe are considering firing their coaches, maybe hold off another year, because like we mentioned before, there's so many big name schools who have fired their coaches. There's so many. There are very few coaches out there who these big name schools aren't going to offer the bag at and then get, leaving a school like Cal sitting there looking at coordinators.
I don't think Oklahoma State feels right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be great.
I think like Oklahoma State's probably looking at a coordinator or a G5 coach. I don't think Oklahoma State can pull a sitting power conference coach.
And I mean, it could work. Like no disparage to the G5 coaches or the coordinators. Like they could work.
Kirby Smart's first job was Georgia.
Yeah.
Dan Lanning's first head coaching job is Oregon. Like it can work. So that's not to say that, but a lot of these teams are looking for sitting power conference coaches.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough. I mean, you want to talk about Kurt Cignetti was at JMU before he got the Indiana job. So, yeah, it's a tough class, and some of these schools are going to be sitting there twiddling their thumbs, potentially after signing day, looking for coaches.
That would be wild, man.
Like firing Mendoza now with a week left in the season,
or
Wilcox now with a week left in the season, and then signing day. What's it, the week after? 2 weeks after?
The 3rd. Is that right?
Yeah. So it's the week after.
Yeah, I think it's the week after.
I mean, what are we doing? If Cal's the first team to hire a head coach, that'd be wild.
Well, I mean, James Franklin's already hired.
Yeah. Okay. The second team to hire a head coach, wild.
Yeah.
Crazy. Crazy talk.
I don't have any idea what their plan is. I would be surprised a little bit if I would be surprised a little bit if Justin Wilcox doesn't get a head coaching job. Maybe it's a group of 5 job, but maybe it's one of these jobs that somebody else leaves. I think Justin Wilcox is actually a good coach. And I think he's going to have another opportunity. Another guy to keep an eye on who went group of 5 and kind of had a weird path. I believe Sean Lewis is his name. He's at San Diego State. He was at Kent State. He took the OC job at Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
With Dion. And then that went south weirdly. And then he's the head coach at San Diego State. They're actually doing really well this year. So that's a guy I would keep an eye on as well. I think he might be in the run for this Cal job. But
yeah, it was wild because he had like the best offense at Kent State.
Yeah.
And they were primed for another good year. And then he's like, I'm going to go be an OC. And it was like, what are you doing?
I think he thought he had a better chance getting to a power conference head coaching job if he did that. But obviously that hasn't worked yet. But maybe long term it will.
I'm just saying, watch out for my the Russian prince that was promised, Alex Golesh at USF, wherever he decides to go.
I think Cal's a really hard job. I don't think that will be the first choice for a lot of these guys that are up in this cycle. And especially with all the jobs that are open. Like I would take Oklahoma State over, like if I'm looking for a job,
yes,
I take Oklahoma State over Cal, even though Oklahoma State's been very, very bad the last couple of years and Cal hasn't. I think Oklahoma State's an easier job than Cal. And I know there's money there. You just have to convince them to give it again.
I say, first off, you have the NIL. Second, you're in the Big 12.
Yeah. Which again, similar to ACC.
Third, you're in Oklahoma. You can get the Oklahoma and the Texas kids.
Yeah.
Like they should be a lot better than they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Gundy lost the faith of the
unfortunately
people that wanted to that pay people. That's what it is.
Well, that happens when you say dumb things.
But he's a man.
He's older than 40.
He used to be 40. He's not anymore.
I've probably done that 100 times. You know what I'm talking about.
Mike, stop doing that.
Don't say that.
Let's take a quick break here. We will be back to wrap up the show. That's Rico. I'm Ravi at Hurrdat Sports Live.
The Black Friday sales event is on at Edwards Jeep, Village Point, and Council Bluffs. Lease the 2025 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sport S 4x4 starting at $359 a month, or take $10,000 off MSRP. 2 locations, massive selections. Or get behind the wheel of a 2025 Jeep Gladiator High Tide 4x4. Lease starting at $299 a month and get a $1,500 gift card back. Truck muscle, Wrangler Spirit, bold selection. Bigger savings at Edwards Ram and Jeep, Village Point, and Council Bluffs.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's Rico. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports headquarters. Didn't say bar and grill.
I know. You didn't say it at all.
Let's go.
I'm so proud of you.
We will be back at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill tomorrow. The reason we're not there today is the Omaha Supernovas have their draft party, I believe.
Yes.
At the bar this morning. I think a lot of the day, actually. So that'll be a cool event. Got the Supernova season right around the corner. Speaking of volleyball, Nebraska, pretty good.
Pretty decent.
Pretty good.
With their win over Indiana, they took sole possession of the Big Ten championship.
Outright
champs. Nobody can take that from them. That is theirs. 3rd in a row. And Danny Busby Kelly makes history as the first year head coach to win the conference championship in the Big Ten ever.
Pretty good.
Just nailed it.
Pretty good. Speaking of first year head coaches, Brian Rosen also at Creighton.
Yes.
Knocking out a conference championship as well.
That's 4 in a row for Creighton, right?
6.
6 in a row.
6 in a row for Creighton.
It's 4 in a row for Brian Rosen being there.
Yes.
I saw him post the pictures of like each one. I had to go and like look at the year on the thing, and I was like, oh, they 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So 6 in a row for Creighton. Ava Martin, I believe, won Big East Player of the Year as well.
Yep. 6 in a row for the tournament. I believe it's 11 in a row regular season. Just a wagon.
They just run the Big East.
Yeah, they've had a terrific year as well. I think UNK won their conference championship over the weekend.
Shout out to the MIAA. They beat, I think it was Washburn.
I believe you're right. I mean, just volleyball state, man.
I don't know if Wayne State won theirs up in the Northern Sun, but they're, I believe, the number 1 team in D2.
Yeah,
UNK's number 3.
I know all the NAI schools. I think like Concordia is really good.
Concordia, I think, made it to the semis or the championship. They're still rolling.
Bellevue is really good. Like every Volleyball State. It's unbelievable the level of success. And don't look now. Creighton's won 20 matches in a row.
Mm-hmm.
They started off 5-5. You know, they always schedule super hard in their non-con. That's what they do. They have to because of what the Big East is as a conference in volleyball. It's certainly not the Big Ten.
No.
But 20 matches in a row. Brian Rosen's got that thing rolling. But the Nebraska one set all conference season. They lost one set
to UCLA.
Like, what are we talking about?
One.
What are we?
Granted, conference season isn't over,
but still,
Penn State's got to come to town.
They do. What are we doing here?
Ridiculous. Danny Busby Kelly and this Nebraska team has been rolling. Bergen Riley, Harper Murray, Andy Jackson are up for AVCA Player of the Year.
Yeah.
For Big Ten Player of the Year, I think those three are up for it as well. It's gonna look. Big Ten Player of the Year is going to go to Kennedy Martin because she takes 100 swings a match, and she's actually very efficient. Like everybody knows it's going to go to her. She still gets the kills.
Yeah.
Kudos to her. Penn State only sets her, it seems like. Bergen Riley leading this offense has been money.
Yeah.
And her offensive game has been amazing as well. She's very timely with her kills. Harper Murray not getting the amount of swings that Kennedy Martin gets, but again, very efficient. Andy Jackson started off slow in the season, but once they started conference play, she's just been fire. So, I mean, Nebraska with 3 potential Big Ten Players of the Year, 3 potential AVCA Players of the Year on their roster. They're just a wagon. They're rolling. It's really exciting. Senior night will be coming up for them. I believe 3 seniors on the roster.
Yeah, that's the funny thing is he's going to be pretty damn good next year.
I mean, senior night 2 years in next year is going to be crazy.
Yeah, it is. It seems like at a certain point you would stop being kind of stunned by the dominance, and I never am. I am continually just blown away by their ability to blow other teams away on a consistent basis. So
4 seniors.
2 matches left. Penn State at home, and then Ohio State at home. That is coming up this weekend, the 28th and 29th.
Ohio State is the worst team in the conference, but they pushed Penn State to 5 a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful.
Yeah. What did Penn State do last time? Against Nebraska?
Hey, okay.
I'm just asking what
so I'm going to talk
with
me and Jacob. We're going to do some volleyball talk later. Okay. And that's kind of something that I want to mention is that don't expect that to happen again. Don't do that.
Okay.
Don't expect Nebraska to roll Penn State like they did before.
Listen, I'm not expecting like a 25-6 or whatever it was. But
this is a good Penn State squad. This is not exactly, but it's like their football team. Like they might not be having a great year for them. They're having a great year for other teams. For them, it might not be a great year, especially being the defending champions. But that's still an extremely talented roster with some extremely talented players.
That's fine. Okay.
And they play well. They play good ball.
That's cool. I'm just saying they scored 34 points the entire match.
Don't expect it. Don't expect it.
I'm not expecting it to look like that. What I am saying is,
and if it does, you come for me.
Good Lord. If it does, good Lord. I'm saying it didn't. I get that they're very talented. It did not seem like they were in Nebraska's class.
Yes.
I think that's
great. It was pretty recent after Izzy Stark had announced her departure from the team, which she's entering the transfer portal, which is crazy.
That's fine. I'm just saying.
Okay. You can just say.
They did not seem anywhere near.
Yeah, no, you're right.
The ballpark.
You're right.
Of Nebraska. I'm not expecting.
For being like the 4th best team in the Big Ten?
Yeah, I'm not. And a top 20 team when they played. Yeah. I'm not expecting 25-6, 25-15, 25-13. What I am saying is, I don't think this is a hot take. I am expecting 2 more sweeps.
Okay.
That's what I am expecting.
I do not think that is a hot take.
I don't think it is. They've swept literally almost everyone.
Yeah. They played, again, me and Jacob are going to get into this. They played not great against Indiana and still got out of there with a sweep.
Top 20 team on the road.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
With like 4 students behind them, like that from me to you,
yeah,
yelling at them when they serve. People are freaking out about that on social media. Not a big deal.
Yeah,
it's not a big deal. The Purdue student section does the same thing, and they're like the same. It's like the Cameron Crazies at Duke. Like they're right there.
Yeah,
they're right there.
I don't know if you've ever been to I think they changed it, but back in the day, before I think they built a new gym, Mount Michael, they were like, you literally had to have rules with, like, you had to have a meeting with the ref to say, hey, my toes are going to be over the out of bounds line because that's how close
because
the
I
stands
cannot
were.
step back.
Yeah, because literally you'd have to have baby feet to be able to fit all of your feet out of bounds.
Yeesh.
And they're like, yes, it's cool. We understand. Just don't take any steps forward.
Just don't keep going.
Yeah. And they're like, okay, cool. Like, that's like one of the most fun environments I've ever gotten my head kicked in at.
Yeah. I might surprise you. Never played at Mount Michael.
Never?
No.
You never just went out there for a game?
No. I didn't know Mount Michael was a thing until I got to college, and I had a teammate who went to Mount Michael.
Oh, there you go.
I didn't know Mount Michael was a thing. When he said, oh, I went to Mount Michael, I was like, was that like a boarding school? Like, is that in Iowa?
It is
like,
a boarding school.
Like, no, it's in Omaha. I'm like, I don't believe
Elkhorn.
you.
It's in Elkhorn.
Omaha.
Technically Omaha now. Was that person a long distance runner?
400, 800.
That makes sense. All right. That is the show for today. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. DB, and I will be back tomorrow. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
The Black Friday sales event is on at Edwards Chevrolet Buick. Give thanks and get driving. Save $3,300 off MSRP plus 0.9% APR on any 2025 Buick and Vista Preferred. Or sign and drive for just $339 a month. Bold looks, everyday luxury. Or lease the 2026 Chevy Trax LT starting at $349 a month with 0 down. Compact size and ready for the season. This Black Friday sales event won't last. Hurry to Edwards Chevrolet Buick.